Hello everybody and welcome back to the action and welcome back to UK Championship, and this time around it's the Rocky RonnieOSullivan that will have to go up against the qualifier, this year's English Open runner-up and the semi-finalist at the Northern Ireland Open, Zhou Yuelong. The player has, of course, the players have met in between each other 7 times beforehand. This marks their 8th appearance against each other. 3 times of those have actually been in the UK Championship, and O'Sullivan managed to win all of those matches. And of course 2023 was the last meeting in between those two here, and ultimately that was the year which has seen RonnieOSullivan taking that Triple Crown event as his penultimate title so far, of course winning Masters in the same season. But now, as we wait for the players to appear on the stage, we're going to have Lee Bei Fan against Mark Selby on table number 2. But ultimately, it will come down to those two battling against each other. I think Ronnie was a bit unlucky with the draw, and as I said, I think it's the worst possible player that he could have actually been up against. You know, I was really surprised to see the head-to-head being 7-0 in Ronnie's favour, because if it wasn't for that, I would expect Zhou Yuelong to be a massive favourite going into this match. I still have gone for him to win and beat Ronnie for the simple reason of just not being impressed with the way that O'Sullivan has been playing recently, especially that absolutely shambolic performance against Sean Murphy. Still can't get that yellow which he missed into the left corner pocket out of my head. But ultimately, it is the Triple Crown events that bring the best out of him. And let's see if it is going to be the show of the Rocket, RonnieOSullivan, that walks onto the stage without his cue, to be fair, which is a very rare thing to see now. We have got the players of this quarter now being up against each other. We're going to have Barry Hawkins, David Lilly, Karen Wilson and Elias Lesser featuring against each other in the evening session. And we've got Mark Selby, Lee Bei Fan, Zhou Yuelong and RonnieOSullivan playing against each other. So you had a queue on the table waiting there for him. So obviously doing that before the appearance on the stage. Now, let's get this party started. And listen, the reason why I'm going to go for Zhou is because he's been really good in qualifiers. He's managed to beat Marco for 4-0 until the interval, before the man from Hong Kong actually retired out there. As the players have a little bit of a fist bump in between each other, it is going to be RonnieOSullivan with a break-off shot now to get the last 32 match underway. Now, needs to get a good start now. Not really the brilliant connection on the Reds. A bit weird in terms of the way they spread out, but brilliant in terms of the cue ball control. And Zhou Yuelong has got a snooker to find himself trying to escape from. So that's a nice little start there for Ronnie. And ultimately, I think it's going to be a very important couple of frames there for the Rocket. And, my prediction only works out if Ronnie ain't going to be playing well, because you always expect him to turn up and win a couple of those frames. And it will all come down to the pot success, the positional play, and his ability to try and get himself started with a couple of long shots quite earlier on in the session. And have had quite a few sort of interesting matchups. I wouldn't say we've had great matches ever since that jump against Maguire, as Zhou Yuelong is going to go for a foul shot. So try the two-cushion escape, and in the end, don't think he's going to give a free ball away, so probably will be asked to put back in the same position. RonnieOSullivan will get 4 points on the board, getting a little bit of an advantage after that break-off shot. And we had the top seed Mark Allen knocked out as probably the biggest upset so far, the world number 7, losing out to Scott Donaldson yesterday in a very long match and a very sort of hard-fought battle of Scott Donaldson against Mark Allen, but come to a scoreline in the end, with Donaldson progressing to the last 16 with a scoreline of 6 frames to 1. And Zhou Yuelong certainly got away with this one, because he caught the red way too much of full in the face, and could have left the red on for O'Sullivan to try and take. In the end, apart from a 3-ball plant, which you're never going to take on with that distance, I think he has managed to escape with this. So just a safety shot being played. And you can see the scoreline. Steve Maguire 6-4, losing out to Watchalong, the world number 1, progresses to meet Si Xiaowei, or managed to beat Ryan Day. Sean Murphy managed to beat Liu Hao Xiang with the same scoreline as John Higgins against Bern Wollaston. Both of the champions managed to win their matches 6 frames to 2. Weezer beating Michael Holt by 6-4, and Neil Robertson against Yulin Leclerc actually ends the drought of Neil Robertson of losing out in the first round every single time ever since he managed to win that tournament in 2020. And of course, the brilliant decider of Zhang Anda against Guy Wilson, and the perfect record there for the Chinese player of getting all 17 attempts for the pot into the yellow pocket with absolutely no sign of a doubt. And we'll meet the world champion of 2025, Zhao Xington, in the last 16 match. Once again, after a decent shot from O'Sullivan, it is Zhou Yuelong trying to find himself out of a snooker situation. And once again there, very much a marginal getaway there for him, because it was very close to leaving a red there to RonnieOSullivan. And in fact, you still have to double check that he hasn't actually left this red on. Ronnie will have a good look at it, and he'll go for it. So clearly feels like it's up for grabs there for him. And it's a good start there for Ronnie. So nice surprise to see you doing today's match. I'm going for Ronnie 6-4. Yeah, fair. Don't really know. I thought I scheduled this one for a while, so... You mean the surprise of actually me saying that Zhou will win? Well, as I say, I'll be absolutely delighted if I'm going to be wrong here, and O'Sullivan will be able to take it by sort of 6-0, 6-1. And the start, to be fair, is very positive there for Ronnie. Gets a red into the right corner. Is in and around the black spot. We'll have a lot of reds available there. If he manages to make sure that the black spot is going to be free of any of those reds actually being in the way. Now the break of 8 points to get Ronnie started here. And the player that you will face will be either Li Peifan or Mark Selby. So as we have the all-English quarter of sort of higher rated seeds. As the black will have to go on the pink spot. Don't actually think that Ronnie will mind this one too much. Because as long as he uses the blue for a couple of more shots now. Ooh, couldn't do it. Yeah, he was trying to find the way for the cue ball to go onto the top part of the table to try and play the blue. And in the end, he probably won't classify it as a mistake. It was a really tough situation that he found himself in, of just trying to make sure that the black spot is going to be free up of any reds. Now has to find a good safety shot to ensure that he's going to have a red available for Yuelong into the right corner. No, I didn't get notification until start. No surprise thinking. No, as I say, it don't matter. And when Ronnie's playing, especially the Triple Crown, you can't miss that. And yes, Zhou against Watchalong tomorrow. And then hopefully we're going to have, well, potentially Mark Selby against RonnieOSullivan. Haven't seen those two play against each other for a while. So once again, Joe just having a look to see if he's going to have any sort of blunts available to try and get towards the right corner. Get the cue ball to the top part of the table and in behind the yellow or brown, with green going towards the blue line. And yeah, as I say, apart from Mark Allen being knocked out, I don't think we had any surprises. Both Neil Roberts and Watchalong, as the world number 1 and 3, managed to win their matches. And so far, it is actually Yuelong playing absolutely horrible snooker now. I mean, 3 safety shots that he's sort of tried to find himself out of position against. And every single time he's left Ronnie with an easy chance into the left and right corner pocket. So, I mean, this time around, he is going to be able to get through to this black. Currently sitting just on the right-hand side of pink pocket. So, O'Sullivan won a record 8th UK Championship title in 2023. After managing to beat Zhou 10-7 in the final. Same scoreline that he had after winning his last Triple Crown up to this point. The 8th Master. In 2024 against Ali Carter, managing to come back from being 6-7 down to win 4 frames on the bounce and clinch the 23rd, as far as I'm aware, Triple Crown win for him up to this point. And so now he's going to be able to play for the pink here. I think the pink is going to go back on the green spot, so I don't actually think it's going to be an issue there for Ronnie. As I say, he's able to get through to the black. It would seem, currently being on the pink spot, and he can try and build his break around that positional colour until he's going to be able to clear all of those reds away from the black ball spot and make sure that he's going to have a clear path for the break to sort of continue until it is going to be a frame on the board there for Ronnie. Just having a look to see if he's going to be able to get past the black into the left middle, and then probably in the end deciding against that. And you can see he will go into the left corner and right middle. Let's see if Ronnie's going to be able to try and go into the bunch here. Don't really like the way he caught those reds, and playing that with little power gave him little control. I mean, he's still on the red here, but he's on the red, which is going to be a straight line shot, or he has got a shot basically on the black ball spot now, which he's not going to have the cue ball going anywhere nice. So this is a tough shot now for him to try and hammer this red into the right corner. And well, it's nice to see, to be fair, O'Sullivan choosing a safety play, because it clearly feels like it's going to be a huge tournament for him if he makes it. And for that to be the case, he has to be playing some good stuff, but also he has to be mindful of the fact that he's not the Ronnie of the 2016, 2013, or even 2020. He has to be careful of not giving those chances away, because not only did he actually gone down a bit since his prime years, but also, the level of snooker game has gone up a level, and you wouldn't actually expect to see the world number 30 challenging Ronnie for the first round of the Triple Crown event. Couldn't find commentary of the previous 2 nights because I wasn't actually doing them. And yeah, we're going to be back here for Ronnie. Then we're going to have Trump against Zhou. And then we're going to have, hopefully, as I say, RonnieOSullivan against Mark Selby in the last 16 match. So, yeah, Ronnie's just having a look to see if he's going to have that red available into the left middle. But this time around, you feel like Yuelong has actually played a nice safety shot. So, if he's going to take a red in, he'll have to be taken into the yellow pocket. But don't really think that's the way to go for you. Just try and push that red towards the right side cushion and get the cue ball lined up on the ball cushion once again. Lovely little shot there from Ronnie. And back to safety he goes. Zhou will have a nice little look to see if he's going to have that red available to find the room for it into the right hand side of the table. And get the cue ball position once again in behind the yellow, brown and pink at these moments. With the green being out of position. And pink spot being taken by the black. I mean, it's not a nice line there with the cue ball. And once again, it is a chance given away here to Ronnie. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's been a perfect start there for the Rocket. But he has been gifted all of those chances there by Yuelong. And it is going to be, once again, a red available into the left corner. For now, it does look like it is going to be a positive start there for Ronnie. But also, you have to say, with all those chances, he hasn't been too clinical himself. And so far, only managing 34 points. Of the 3 opportunities that were presented to him. So let's see if he's going to be able to make it. The 4th one counts, gets the red in, which was important. Of him going for a stretch shot. Now needs the cue ball to run a bit more for him to have the angle on the green. And I think it's actually worked out pretty nicely. He's having a look to go for the pink potentially as well. By Ronnie. And, let's see if it is going to be Ronnie in the next round. He's going for the pink now into the green pocket. So let's see where the pink is going to go on the blue spot. And once again, just don't think he's going to be happy with the way he's played the shot. And don't really understand the way that he was trying to play it. Because he was absolutely nowhere near having a position on the next red. And once again, it's a 4th chance. And it's only 7 points scored there. So positional play has been horrible there for Ronnie. And he'll know that better than anyone understands. Needs to improve big time. Well, can't disagree with that. 4 chances that he's had and 41 points scored so far. But to be fair, you have to say his spot success, I think, so far has been 100%. Which probably is going to be good news there for him. The problem is he's still very much having this frame wide open there for Yuelong to potentially try and steal away from him. 41 points is the advantage. 99 still on the table. And the biggest problem that Yuelong has had so far is just trying to settle into the opening frame and get himself a couple of good safety shots in the sequence. And this is one of them. Getting the cue ball very close to the brown. And it's a perfect shot there from Yuelong. And finally, trying to put some pressure on RonnieOSullivan. Still think it's the position that if Ronnie was to give it away there, the black spot is no longer taken by those reds. He's still surrounded by them, but you can try and put the black on it. Now, he's going to be pacey there with the cue ball, so has to try and make sure he's going to be able to catch the reds from behind there and play the shot really nicely. To be fair, as I say, could have played with a bit of sort of less power at that time, but it has worked out pretty nicely for him on this occasion, catching the red from the black ball cushion and just pushing that a bit closer to the top part of the table. Yuelong will just be able to try and send the cue ball away from the main pack and get it closer to the ball cushion at this stage. As I say, trying to apply a bit of pressure for his own. And yeah, the last 16 matches, a little reminder, we have got, I think, 6 of them set up already. Zhou against Trump, Ding Zhou against Cole Donaldson, Mark Williams against Bang Jung-soo, Neil Robertson against Wu Yize, John Higgins against John Murphy, and the world champion Zhao Xington up against Zhang Anda there. Ronnie getting very close to the thin side of that red, but ultimately catching the blue pretty much full ball at that time. And I think it is going to be a chance given away here to Yuelong, but the problem is the red that he's got available is not an easy cut anyway, and he's going to have to brute force the cue ball into the black and into the reds there for him to try and end up on the black here. Realistically, this is his only option I won't be surprised if he actually turns it down and refuses this shot. Now just having a look to see if he's got another red available into the same pocket, and he does have it. Now is he going to have position on the colour? Don't think he will. Bit unlucky there with the kiss that he got on the green, because it was a nice pot there, right into the heart of the pocket. And yeah, for him to just try and line up a snooker in behind one of those bold colours. I think he's going to try and use the brown to get the cue ball as close to the green as possible, with them being quite close to the yellow spot as well. And in the end, just trying to block off the left-hand side with the green and getting the cue ball in behind the brown here. So let's see if Ronnie's going to be able to find his way out of this snooker as well. He's managed to do it previously, but as I say, that time of asking, the cue ball was a bit pacey. Don't really like the line now, and he could give a nice little invitation away to Zhou Yuelong. But I mean, I say it could be a nice little invitation, but it's about as straight as you're ever going to be on this red along the black ball cushion. I mean, he's very much eager to take it, and I mean, to be fair, that angle was a bit misleading. Has got a bit of the angle. So he's got the black lined up now into the right middle, but still a lot of distance in between those two. And written Ding off as a genuine contender for this event, so I was surprised by his effort last night. He was playing decent. I wouldn't say he was sort of flying there against Zhou. I still think he has got a lot to improve on. And even in the match against Scott Donaldson, I think he'll struggle for the simple reason of it's going to be a clash of styles. For now, it's a brilliant pot there for the right middle. And Zhou Yuelong is back in this frame now. He's 28 points behind. He still has got 83 points on the table. And the highest break of 21 points there for RonnieOSullivan. He's very much under threat there by the Chinese player. As I say, has managed to go through the qualifiers of Jamie Clark and Marco Fu, losing 2 frames in both of these matches. Now gets himself lined up for the black here. So, I mean, he's got 5 somewhat easy reds there. He's got a little 2 red combination there, quite close to each other, but you'll be able to play the cue ball into them quite quickly. And so realistically, the only problem that he's got now is going to be the red along the left-hand cushion, which he can try and get in behind and just try and play it into the left corner. But ultimately, not really going to be too confident in the way that if he's going to try and get in behind it or try and cannon it closer to the left-hand corner or the right, left, middle, being 2 of the other options as well. For now, get the easy part of the job done. Gets himself lined up for the pink here, so maybe just trying to get himself an angle to try and split those 2 reds. Don't think I'm going to be a fan of this if he goes for it, because you ain't going to have any more of guaranteed reds available. And yeah, refusing that shot, I think it was a smart play, just trying to get the pink back on his spot to make sure that, you know, you will need some of the colours, I think. Who remembers the days when Ronnie only needed 1 frame and 1 chance to win the frame? Stephen, I do. But I don't think those days are going to be in 2025 now. With us approaching 2026, I just think those days are gone. And until he manages to rediscover his form, his positional play has to improve massively. And, well, maybe we'll still see that, but we haven't seen that for a while, that's for sure. Once again, the first red disappears there from Zhou Yuelong, so now it is going to be the highest break of the match. 24 points for now. Because another thing you have to say that this match ain't going to be played in a slow way. It is going to be played between 2 aggressive players, both trying to go on the front foot, trying to put pressure on each other. And don't think either of them are going to be scared of taking sort of pots that you wouldn't actually think are worth taking on sometimes. Just going for those risky shot selections. As Zhou Yuelong managed to get the red in though. He hasn't. Wow. Didn't actually think he was going to slip up there. Afternoon, gents and ladies. The longest locks. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Afternoon. And let's have a look if Ronnie's going to be able to get around this black and try and play the red. I mean, he has managed to do it. So in billiard, it would be 2 out of 2. In snooker, it is 4 foul points because he has managed to get around the black. But as he pots the red, because of it being so close to the right corner pocket, he pots the cue ball as well. And tight pockets. Yeah, they have been pretty tight, to be fair. We have seen that with Zhou a couple of days into this tournament. Sometimes you go off a line with a minor effect and you're not going to be able to get those reds in. Judge still saying that he's enjoying those tight pockets. Let's see if that's going to be the case there against Zhou tomorrow, though, because one thing going up against sort of Stephen Maguire, that can be one of those players that can try and turn it on and switch it off whenever he wants to. But I think the consistency and the play style of Zhou is going to be quite an interesting matchup. Once again, it's a good shot there by Yuelong. And Ronnie has to try and get the cue ball on for the red. And he's going to catch it. But the question is going to be whether he's going to line up the cue ball for the red into the right corner. And he will. Once again, you have to say, when you line up a snooker from these two players, they haven't been able to get themselves out of that position so far. And that goes for a relevant thing for both of them. RonnieOSullivan's done that on a couple of occasions. And so has Yuelong now. About to go only 1 point behind RonnieOSullivan. And of course, the problem for him is going to be the fact that he's very close with the cue ball towards this red. Has to go for a rest shot. And the next shot that he has to try and take with the black, preferably for him, he has to make sure that he's going to be able to go into the little bunch of reds of the last two on the table to try and ensure that he's going to be able to make this break, the one that actually counts for him. And once again, just catches the front Zhou a bit too much there. And yeah, I was surprised by that. I thought he was going to roll the red in, but I just think that cue ball being so close to the red made the shot a bit tricky there for him. So Ronnie with an easy task usually. Let's see if he's going to be able to call this an easy task now. With him producing the break of 21 points as his highest so far. He needs to have a perfect shot off the black. Get himself lined up on any one of those reds. And hopefully it will be away into the distance. And he's alright. He's alright. I thought he's played the shot with not enough power. But at that time, he's still going to have a red available into the left middle. So 10 points clear. I think he's going to need both of those reds. And once again, not getting enough cue action on the cue ball. Gets himself lined up with a bit of a difficult shot now on the pink. And also has to control the white perfectly for him to be lined up for the next red. And this is why I said Yuelong will win this match, because RonnieOSullivan producing a break of 9 points out of the position that he had is absolutely shocking. And back to Joey goes. Very lucky there, Ronnie, to have the cue ball lined up on top of the black, making the red pretty much unplayable into the right middle. But let's be honest, he should definitely lose this frame with the amount of mistakes that he's made. But you have to say that Yuelong hasn't been perfect either, as he now finds himself 11 points behind. Embarrassing, right? Well, it is boundary on that. If he manages to recover this frame and sort of win it, I would say that you can try and put that behind it. But, what is it now? 6 chances that he's had, especially with having the red over the right corner pocket, playing one decent shot off the black, and then, running yourself out of position straight away, having a difficult shot on the pink, and now gets a bit lucky there. I think he's going to have the yellow in between the cue ball and this red. And, may not even be the case. I think Yuelong can actually get past the yellow and blue to try and get the edge of the red here. To try and play an escape shot here. And I think at this stage, Ronnie is a bit safer than Zhou for the simple reason of, he is going to need the sort of green and brown combination. But he's 11 points clear away from Yuelong now. Those two are going to be an issue for whichever one of the players actually gets himself a chance. Once again, for now, it's just a safety shot being played by Ronnie. And back to Joey goes. So just exchanging a little bit of a safety play now in between those two. Win a frame with 6 chances. And if I was using a broomstick, well, you think so. I don't think you would be able to do that against a professional, but I get what you're saying. For the player like RonnieOSullivan, he should be able to clear the frame with 1 or 2 chances. Definitely shouldn't take it to 5 or 6 like it was the case. And still unable to win the frame. And, it's remained to be seen if it is going to be the 7th chance lucky there for him. But it is going to be one more chance there for Yuelong, which will be able to get him over the line. Once again, for now, the players are going to be battling away with trying to get themselves on the red And stringing up a couple of safeties. Once again, the cue ball is going to find itself closer to the green pocket. And the red being pushed into the black right now to try and send it to the right-hand side of the table. Plays the shot really, really nicely there, Zhou. And Ronnie has to find himself with the maximum of table length in between the cue ball and the red. And those shots are tricky there, especially with the red being so close to the black ball cushion. And once again there, Ronnie could have left that red on there for the yellow pocket, but as he catches the cluster of green and brown, the red is going to be positioned in the way that if you're going to try and play it towards the yellow pocket, you're going to catch the green now. So it's a very interesting shot there that he has to find himself up with against. And yeah, certainly taking his time on this approach. The black has gone a bit closer to the right-hand cushion of the table once again. Will Ronnie reach 1500 centuries before dropping out of the top 500 players? August 2026. Well, it ain't going to be August 2026 because August 2026 is going to be less than 9 months and he ain't going to be out of top 50 by that time because he's still going to have some of those ranking points for at least the Saudi Arabia Masters final. So, don't really get the point, but listen, with the way that he's playing right now, you won't be able to reach 1300 centuries. And, he just has to try and rediscover his form, which he's capable of doing. It's just all about actually trying to perform that at the highest stage here. And after careful consideration by Yuelong, he tries to play a snooker on RonnieOSullivan. I'm not too sure why there was applause in the crowd, because I'm pretty sure that Ronnie can see this red. And it's all about just trying to get the way for the red to go down to the lower part of the table, try and get the cue ball in behind the green, with it being so close to the red right now. And, well, Ronnie didn't actually think that it was possible, clearly. And he hasn't played a good shot either. I mean, he has managed to push the pink onto the black ball cushion, which is going to be a nice little bonus there for him. But he has left the red as a potential long shot chance to Yuelong here. Because he has got the cue ball to be lined up on the ball cushion with a very little sort of a comfort zone there for Zhou to try and put his hands on the table. So if he plays this shot, he can still try and get the cue ball onto the top part of the table into a somewhat safe zone. And rolls the red in nicely. And catches the pink in the way that, I mean, hasn't really done himself a lot of favour, because he ain't going to be on the blue. And the transition from the blue onto the pink is going to be an absolute horror for him if he is going to be able to get the green in, which you would expect to make it right now. So it's all about if he's going to need the pink, which I think he will. He's 10 points down right now. He's still going to have a red available for him into the right corner, which he has managed to play. So, yeah, he's going to need the pink here, because he ain't going to be able to go 14 points up on RonnieOSullivan up until that point. Now has to focus on the green to be taken into the yellow pocket. Red shot nicely taken. And it's now 27 points remaining on the table here. 7 points is the deficit, so it all comes down to having the perfect position on the blue, with the brown being so close to the yellow pocket, and trying to play an absolute brilliant of a shot to get positional play on the pink, with it being so close to the black ball cushion right now. A bit closer to the left-hand side pocket though, so that's going to be a minor advantage to Zhou, as he rolls the red in, rolls the yellow in, I should say, gets himself lined up for the green. And, yeah, I'm just thinking about the way that he can try and go on about this brown here. Ideally, he wants to be as close to it as possible and try and get in behind the blue. Don't really think you're going to be able to get yourself on the pink if you're going to try into the right middle to pot the blue. And well, he's looking to see if the cut is there for him into the green pocket, but that makes the shot a bit tricky there for Zhou. And I mean, if he fancies his chances, you can try and go for it. I think that's a bit low on the pace there for the cue ball. I mean, that's going to be just about fine, but it is a massive shot there for him to try and get perfect positional play on the pink. And also, you have to make sure that you roll the blue in. He's 2 points up on Ronnie right now. Still 18 points on the table, so needs the blue and pink combination to finally get this first frame settled once and for all. Gets the Gets the blue in. Is he going to have position on the pink? Just about will, but he ain't perfect on it. I mean, the way that he's missed the pink, he was very marginal for him actually trying to kiss the pink. And, of course, in that case, he would have had to play a safety. Now it's a really difficult of a cut. And so the good news is going to be the fact that Ronnie will need both pink and black, but he's going to leave the pink over the pocket. It is going to be a massive issue there for him, but that ain't going to be the case. And Yuelong is going to be the player to get the opening frame on the board. And after all the chances that RonnieOSullivan has had, he still goes on to lose the opening frame here. And it's not been the starts that RonnieOSullivan would have liked to see, because remember, he was sort of 41 points up on Yuelong, and in the end, he has lost out, and Yuelong will be having a nice little frame cushion to his name. Li Beifan is trying to do a similar sort of thing there against Mark Selby, with him having 44 points of an advantage. Going into the last 67 points, still remaining on the table. And, well, listen, he ain't been the perfect start at all for any one of the players, but I certainly think that Ronnie will be happy with the way that he's got on about business. Has managed to start off the frame, but as I say, all those chances and just getting 21 points as his highest break of the match. Yuelong not really getting a lot more than that, the break of 30 points, but as he has managed to go on about his business quite quickly, and well, gets himself a frame on the board now. Ronnie still has to try and settle into the rhythm of this match, and I think the way for you to do it is have an easy chance left out by Zhou, and try and get yourself lined up into the black belt zone. Try and go for, I don't know, a 50 break or a 60 break right now, potentially. And, you know, perfect case scenario, of course, for him to have a century on the board of, I don't know, 125 points. Don't give Yuelong a chance after a wonderful long pot, and try and run away with it there. But that doesn't seem to be the mindset that RonnieOSullivan has turned up into the Barbican here. Off into York. And, well, you have to give credit to Yuelong there, because, as I say, he has never managed to beat RonnieOSullivan, but we have seen that before in the Riyadh Championship season, where he was up against Sean Murphy, who hasn't beaten him since Champion of Champions of 2017. And we haven't actually seen Ronnie turn up for that match, and he has gone on to sort of lose 4 frames without any sort of answer. And now, of course, has lost 6 frames on the bounce, losing out the decider to Jack Lizalski, losing that match to Sean Murphy by 4 frames to 0, and now losing the opening frame to Yuelong for good measure. And, a little bit of a pause now as we get to the start of the second frame. It will be the break-off shot for Yuelong. And on the other table, it is going to be Mark Selby with a chance now to try and clear the table and get himself off into a nice start there after Li Beifan managed to score that 45 points of a break, which still would be higher than anything we've seen in this match in between Zhou and Ronnie here. And it is going to be the second frame to get started by Yuelong as he comes back from a little bit of a bathroom break. See if he is going to be a comeback of RonnieOSullivan onto the table, and hopefully trying to string a bit more of points than the 21 that he has managed so far. Now, the break-off shot has been a bit of an Achilles heel for Yuelong previously, as he gets himself lined up for a decent cue ball position quite close to the green pocket. And normally you'd have to say that RonnieOSullivan will be trying to go for this red into the right corner, but is that going to be the case right now? He will try and go for it, but he'll still miss it. And is he going to give a red away? He will. So he is going from bad to worse there for him. Don't really expect him to go for those chances when he's not playing well there. And it's exactly the thing that Yuelong would have been hoping for. Nice and easy starter into the right corner there with a red, well, potentially taken there for him. And just trying to hold the cue ball for the black. Try and take it into the left corner. And, I mean, a bit compromised by the red when he tries to play this black into the left corner. But ultimately, he's still on a chance here. The position is limited there for him in terms of points that he can try and score without making significant changes to it. As he plays the black in nicely. And the thing about Yuelong is he's very much a momentum player. And when he's able to get those chances in, especially if he's going to be able to sort of get himself lined up with an easy chance. Of course, made a maximum this season previously at the China Grand Prix. So he's going to be able to just apply all sorts of pressure there on Ronnie, keep him very much in his chair, make him cold and rusty, and try and get all the rhythm and all the points on the board there for his name. Of course, a lot of points without answer now after that clearance of 30 points in the previous frame, but not particularly nice shot there being played for him. Runs himself out of position on the red that I think he was aiming for the right corner. And, I mean, he can still try and take the same red away. Whether he's going to be able to get the perfect position on the black is going to be another question there. And, yeah, in the end, just refusing that red into the right corner. So tries to go for a more difficult of the cut and rolls that one in nicely. Once again, we'll have to make sure that he's going to be able to get those reds in. And so far, has been able to do just about that. Zhou 6 Ronnie 0. Well, Rajiva, I mean, at this stage, anything is possible. I still think that with the way Ronnie's set up as a character, I think he'll be able to get himself a couple of those chances, which you'll finally convert there. But you certainly can see that the worrying signs are there, with Zhou Yuelong playing shots like that, getting himself lined up perfectly on the red, into the right corner. And O'Sullivan still being on 0 for these frame counts. And yeah, of course, I say he's got a red lined up into the left corner, not the right corner, I should say. But where is he going to find the next colour? Because he ain't going to have a massive angle on this red to try and go for the blue. And after that split, one of those reds has gone in the way of the black for him to be playing into the opposite side of the pocket. So, I mean, if he is going to try and go for the pink to be played along the black cushion, I mean, I know he's playing on confidence, but this could be one shot too many for him to try and take. But he's got no other option. As I say, he couldn't play for the blue, so has to try and take the gamble. Probably the positive news is going to be if he misses this ping, he's going to stay over the corner pocket and therefore not allow Ronnie to try and take it away there for him. And, well, he feels like it's faded. Yeah, he certainly feels like that pink has faded away from him. And with the way he's played it, whether he has faded or not, he has left this red on into the right corner. Because usually, if you miss it into the front jaw, the red is not going to be possible there with the pink being in the way. But ultimately, it is going to be now. And Ronnie is straight down to hit this shot. And, well, I mean, it ain't going to be a perfect chance because, as I say, the position is still a bit raw. And the red that he's managed to play is probably going to be the only one that is currently available to him. But Ronnie has got that perfect shot in him, which is going to allow him to try and split those reds in a perfect manner. Managed to do it really, really well at this stage. And the minor problem is going to be the fact that the opening red after this split ain't going to be too easy. And once again, I mean, way too quick to go for that shot for me. And misses the same red, and which he has missed in the previous frame. Once again, break of 6 points, and back to Joey goes. So we won the first frame in this match, thank you. So obviously that clearance was effective enough for him. And at this stage, you don't really expect Ronnie to win any of those frames. And, well, that's the reason. You know, you can't really say that he's going to be... I was very surprised to see the odds of Ronnie winning this match of 133. And in comparison, 340 for Zhou. I just think he was always going to be dependent on which O'Sullivan we're going to see in the opening 1 and 2 frames. And so far, it has been absolutely the worst possible version of him. Zhou still hasn't been perfect himself. I mean, he plays the pink into the right corner, which was over the pocket. And, I mean, has he left himself with absolutely no red to try and play? The break of 7 points now. And, yeah, I mean, I say, 2 great attacking players, all about break building stuff. But so far, neither of them able to go above the break of 30 points so far. Ronnie doesn't have the fire in him anymore to win these matches, and Ronnie's no longer good enough. I mean, it's fair comments, because can't really... If you're going to counter that, I mean, what are you going to counter that with? He's missed already. I mean, you know when you have those unforced errors for Mark Allen, Gary Wilson yesterday in the frames number 7 and 11? I think he had 7. I think he had 10. I mean, has he not had 7 already in the opening frame and a half now of missing easy reds? And his opponent is obviously going to be able to thrive on this. Not quite on this shot, though, because he has managed to get a nice red in. Still runs himself out of position for the black. But, yeah, I mean, I would be pretty disappointed if it was Zhou Yuelong, because The problem that he's got is sometime later in the match, you will have the little glimpses of Ronnie back to sort of decent form, and at that time, you need to make sure you're going to be able to have sort of a couple of frames as a cushion. For now, it is going to be the break of 8 points, and back to Ronnie it goes. Smart shot there by Zhou, because I think he was trying to get the cue ball lined up for the black ball cushion and ensure that Ronnie wasn't going to be able to get through to the top part of the table, but hasn't played the shot too well. It was a good idea, but the execution wasn't quite there. Ronnie was able to get through to that red and get the cue ball lined up on the ball cushion. So, don't think he's left an easy red into the right corner, so Zhou will probably have to hesitate for a couple of more moments. Oh, I mean, he thought he had a red available. And once again, I mean, Yuelong will be absolutely fuming with himself if he comes away after those 2 frames being 1 frame each. Because, you know, as a sign of a champion, when you're not playing well and you're still able to win those frames. But, you know, when you're not playing well, it's probably going to be quite an understatement there from the way that Ronnie has played. But gets himself another chance. Straight down for the red into the right corner. The pink into the opposite side of the table. Having all those reds very much close to him. 18 points is the deficit. Still 83 on the table. But you have to say the problem for Ronnie is even a minor problem, a minor contact that he has to make with those reds is going to be a massive challenge there for him at this stage. And, you know, 3 shots taken. 4th one barely gets the pink in. Absolutely perfectly lined up on it. So, once again, no sign of a disaster, but barely gets the pink in. The break of 14 points, so trying to edge on that break of 21 points achieved in the previous frame. Having 3 more open reds, and then he's got a red very close to the left middle, so you probably can't count that one as the red and open play as well. And yeah, gets himself lined up for the black now, taken into the right corner. And, I mean, he manages to get the black in, but he runs himself out of position on the next red. I mean, I say he runs himself out of position. He can still try and get the red in, but I don't think he was trying to have the contact on it. I think he was trying to make sure that the cue ball is going to be able to pass this red by. Once again, he needs to make sure he's going to be able to get those reds in to give him some sort of momentum. I mean, he gets the red in, but it's a nice shot there from the potting angle, but straight away, very much in a straight line with the yellow, and a very difficult cut into its own pocket. Made nicely by Ronnie though. So 2 difficult shots, and managed to make both of them last. Now 31 points each, and those 4 reds, hopefully for him, are going to be a part of a total clearance. And once again wobbles the red in. Very much struggling, and a squeaky bum time there very early on there for Ronnie. Trying to get some sort of momentum. Of course, managing the break of 32 points ain't going to be too bad at this stage. And I think you'll have to go for a stretch now. Trying to reach this red into the right corner. And tries to place his hand in between the green and the blue. And takes the first red in nicely, to be fair. Cued this one with conviction. Got the red into the heart of the pocket. But a little bit of the angle on the pink to try and play the cue ball through to have the shot lined up for the left-hand cushion of the table. 14 points clear, so he needs both of those reds with expensive colours, and he's going to be able to not require the 6 colour clearance, just edging out on that first 50 plus break of the match. Now this red along the cushion that he's going to leave himself with is going to be very much a challenge. 22 points is the advantage, so if he leaves this red over the left corner pocket for Yuelong, it will be a scoreline of 2 frames to 0 to deal with. And this red is not on the cushion. I'll say it, he'll miss it, and he will miss it. I don't know why he's played for it, to be fair, because he hasn't shown any sort of sign that he is going to make those shots stick. And I actually thought that the red could have been perfectly on the cushion, but it wasn't. And anyone that's played the game previously would know that those shots, not impossible, but they're very, very difficult for you to manage, especially when you're not playing well. And another problem with those shots, if you miss it, you're always going to leave the red over the right corner pocket. And, I mean, the only problem and the only way it can go wrong there for Yuelong is going to be that transition from yellow to green and back to the brown. That cue ball is spacey now. Is he going to be in behind the brown? I think he's going to be just about fine. Or is it? Has he managed to make the mess of the first shot? The body language probably doesn't suggest that. The camera doesn't either. So is he going to be able to get through to this yellow? And even if he does, yeah, that body language suggests that he certainly messed it up there. I mean, he was very straight on the black, so he always was going to go for the sort of a screw back on the cue ball, and he's actually managed to put too much of the cue action. And with the brown being slightly out of position, it is going to be, well, it does look to be in the way of the cue ball. The fact that Zhou has actually asked the referee to clean the white usually still is a suggestion to me that he's going to try to go for this yellow. And as I say, in that case, he needs the perfect position on the green, which is going to be right underneath the blue line. So let's see if he's going to be able to make it. And, well, I don't think he was trying. So clearly, my theory of him asking the referee to clean the white before going for an attacking shot didn't actually work out. And O'Sullivan gets away with an absolute horror of a mistake. And once again, I mean, it will be an absolute miracle if it is going to be a one frame each going into frame number 3. By the way, I still don't think he will be, because I think Ronnie will have a couple more mistakes in him. But this one is not one of them. It's a perfect shot there, getting the cue ball off into the line there of a diagonal sort of a 3-color line with the brown and green being in between the cue ball and the yellow. And Zhou has to play this one with power. And, well, needs to make sure he's going to be able to catch the yellow with a bit of sort of comfort zone. Pretty much full ball. And even though he has managed to do it, he's actually put the pink safe, which at this stage is going to be a massive factor there, because Ronnie won't need the pink, but Yuelong will. I think for Ronnie, he's 14 points clear right now, so he's going to need the yellow, green and brown for him to be over the line. And the cue ball was lined up to try and be in behind the black. Decent effort there by Ronnie, because it's still not going to leave an easy long shot away. But ultimately not going to leave a snooker either there for Zhou, which at this stage probably would have given Ronnie the frame, with the yellow being so far away from the cushion. And he said it is going to be a nice little response there that Yuelong finds. And the yellow getting closer towards the black. Is he going to leave a chance away to Ronnie to try and swerve around here? I mean, still has to be careful with this one, because the yellow being so close to the black, he can try and absorb all sorts of pressure and all sorts of power from the cue ball, and gets a little bit of the kiss on the pink. So I don't think he had all sorts of control there. And in the end, is he going to have the yellow tucked in behind the brown? I think he will be, because Zhou is playing the shot cushion first. So 2 cushion escape, right hand side. Try and get in behind the yellow. Plays the shot wonderfully once again. Puts the green onto the lower part of the table and puts a lot of distance in between the target ball and the cue ball. So once again, you have to say, playing this one with very little time taken in between those shots. Come on, Ronnie. Well, if Kevin still believes in you, then you can still try and do it all. Now, tries to get the cue ball in behind the green. Decent effort in terms of the idea that he had. Not so much on the execution side. And not going to leave anything available. But he's unable there to get himself lined up for a straightforward safety shot to be played. And once again, the full control is going to go back to Yuelong. I think the straightforward shot selection now is going to try and play the shot head on. Try and get the cue ball to be rolling through there onto the black ball cushion. Sorry, the ball cushion. And get the yellow lined up for the lower part of the table. And he has gone for a bit of a cross double. So he ain't going to change things massively. But the way that he's managed to line those two diagonally, this thing that he could have put O'Sullivan under a little bit more of a pressure and scrutiny. And this yellow is going to be close to the left middle though. And it is a mistake there and a misjudgment from Ronnie. That yellow should have been nowhere near catching the jaw of the middle pocket. And he's quite lucky not to give this one away there to Zhou. Yes, Ronnie's still been around long enough to still win this. I'll be honest with you, if he manages to win this match and he plays like that for the entirety of it, it will be by far the worst match that I've ever seen him play. Especially the Triple Crown. And still win. Because, I mean, I wouldn't actually say that he's played better against Zhou than he has managed against Murphy. But I've only seen a frame in a bit. Let's see if he's going to be able to have a blistering long pot, clear up the colours and the break of 27 points. with, 6 brilliant shots there. Maybe they'll make me change my mind, but at this stage, as I say, it's been absolutely nowhere near, not even talking about his best form, but talking about decent form. Now, just thinking about going for a long shot into the green pocket, and in the end, just deciding against it. So, just a transition for the yellow to be lined up for the lower part of the table. And back to Zhou it goes. He can still win it, as I'm saying, but I think if he is going to win it, it is going to be down to Yuelong actually trying to, well, give him this win, because, as I say, with the way Ronnie has played, I can't really say that Zhou has been absolutely sublime player himself, and has been making no mistakes so far in those 2 frames. And Ronnie just trying to cause a bit of chaos there on the table. Of course, he is interested in having blue, pink and black to be positioned as badly as they possibly can be, because he ain't going to need those 3 colours. Once again, catching the yellow full ball. In the end, yellow will cannon itself into the blue. And, potentially, once again, it is going to be a chance for Zhou to try and take this yellow into the yellow pocket. For the simple reason of, well, he's refused that shot now anyway, but surprised with that, because the cue ball would have been heading into the black ball cushion, which has the green in right now. And with those type of shots, I don't really think that the yellow is going to stay over the pocket there, with it going sort of diagonally there. But I suppose that's why you don't go for those shots, because one shot later and O'Sullivan is going to leave you with a perfect chance to try and produce not quite a clearance, with the pink still being in such a tough position there for you, but still at least give yourself a chance there. Selby playing well. Well, as I say, if Selby's going to be playing well and he's going to be up against Ronnie, I think he will be a whitewash. And Zhou needs the cue ball to slow up. I don't think the camera showing the replay is going to be at the best possible time, because it is going to be all about the position that he gets on this green. Has to bridge over the black there, so he ain't going to make the shot easy for him. Needs the cue ball to run now. Doesn't want to be straight in the brown either. Decent, but I think he would have liked the cue ball to be a bit closer to the brown. And now just checking to see the way he wants himself to be lined up for the pink. So yeah, it's a complete deja vu there, because he had a little bit of a colour clearance in the previous frame, with Yuelong needing the pink for the frame win. Wasn't really at the easiest positions, and does seem to be the same way right now. O'Sullivan just unable to get himself over the line. And, well, he's gone pretty much for a straight shot on the blue. He has got a bit of the angle, but I think that is a suggestion that he's going to try and get in behind the pink and try and cannon it onto the left-hand side of the table. And, well, maybe he's actually trying to go for a shot along the cushion. Is he going to make this one stick? I know he's not Ronnie, and he's been playing all right there, but 53 points each. In fact, he is going to need the pink and black, but I don't think it's going to matter there. The black is going to be potable. It's all about getting the pink in and play the shot absolutely perfectly, not even touching the jaws. And it is going to be the black for the frame win for Yuelong. And it is going to be a 2-frame cushion there to himself. And once again, just like it has been against Jack Lisowski, Sanderson Lamb, Sean Murphy and Alan Taylor, it is going to be RonnieOSullivan 0 and his opponent 2. Dreadful performance. And fair play to Yuelong there. He's managed to bite his time, get himself lined up for an easy yellow into the green pocket, and the rest was history. Playing a risky shot there of not even trying to cannon the pink into open play, just trying to play along the cushion. And in the end, has managed to execute that 6-colour clearance absolutely perfectly there. So how many frames? One by who? So 0 by Ronnie, 2 by Zhou now. So we're now leading 2-0, copy. And no, Ratchet, he ain't going to be down 1 frame. He's going to be down 2 frames here. And I think it's this time when you have to say Yuelong is going to be the favourite for him to take this match away from Ronnie. And you can see that Selby's leading Li Beifan by 2 frames to 0. Getting himself 9 points on the board in the third one as well. And listen, I have to say that it would have been unfair, from my point of view, for Ronnie to be going into the third frame, would have been a scoreline of 1 frame each. But, you can't really say anything good about his performance. he's had that break of 47 points, but once again, he hasn't had any sort of issues to try and navigate through. And I mean, once again, you have to go back to the red, which reminds me massively of the red that Maguire missed against Trump in the, I think it was 8th frame, which allowed Trump to force a respot and go 5-3 up on Maguire at that stage. I just don't understand why Ronnie was playing for that red. It wasn't on the cushion. You always know that those shots are pretty much impossible for you to put unless you play them perfectly. And, I mean, he hasn't shown any sort of snooker, which would make me feel like, you know, he's going to be able to make this shot in. As I say, he needs a break of 80 points very, very soon now, or he's going to be out of this match before the interval. If he is going to go 3-0 down, by the way, he ain't going to be back. I'll tell you right now. And this could have been relevant even if he was playing absolutely his best because, well, at his absolute best, because of the way and because of the player Yuelong is, he is the exact same, he has the exact same approach that RonnieOSullivan has. He is going to go for every single chance that he's going to be somewhat sort of available there for him, and he'll try and maximize those opportunities every single time with getting the position on in and around the black spot, getting himself lined up with all those reds, trying to split them up from the pack. And once again, I mean, Ronnie has gone for a red into the right corner after a bit of a mistake there from Zhou. And once again, you just have to ask, what was he trying to achieve with it? Because, yes, I know it's a red that he has to try and take, but now it's a very difficult black into the left corner. And to be fair to him, he manages to get this one in. And the reds are actually positioned perfectly. So if Ronnie was playing nicely, and this was Saudi Arabia, you could say, oh, you know what? A little 1-for-7 is actually possible there, in with a chance. And, well, straight away there, made 2 1-for-7s in a single match at the Saudi Arabia Masters. But, I mean, one thing that you have to say about 1-for-7, no matter who you are, you have to be playing absolutely perfect for you to make it stick. But 2 reds, 2 blacks. For the way that this match has gone so far for Ronnie, it ain't going to be worst case scenario. And, I mean, listen, if you take the jokes apart, aside of it, it's actually a perfect position for a 1-for-7. The way the reds are set up there for Ronnie, and, I mean, he ain't got any issues now. The pink is in nice play. All the colours are on their places. And, yeah, I mean, let's wait and see now. He's the beast late in 2018 on the 3rd November. He lost 6-0 to Ronnie. What if level his score up? Well, as I say, let's forget about the scoreline for now, because if RonnieOSullivan is going to lose this match by 6-1, and he's still going to make at least an attempt for a 1-for-7, it is going to go down in the history books, especially if he manages to make it work there for him. Lost the control of the cue ball a touch, and average shot time 12 seconds there. He's still going to have a red available into the right corner. So try and get this one through with a minor contact on those 2 reds. Played the shot nicely, to be fair. So once again, trying to go for 5 reds, 5 blacks. Bit of the angle on the cue ball, though, so has to ensure that he gets the black in first. And I still think he's alright. He's got a couple of options now to try and stay on the black. He's trying to get the cue ball off into the main bunch, and the little problem and the little issue that he's got ahead of himself is going to be the fact that he's got those 4 reds all bunched up closely to the right hand side of the table. And once again, lost control of the cue ball. Twice in a row he's done that. And he ain't going to be able to get himself out of those situations every single time here. Gets the black in, and is he going to be on the red? I mean, he is on the red, but I don't see the way that he's going to be able to get himself lined up for the black here. So he probably is going to be a 1-for-7 chance over, unless he powers the cue ball into this red and gets himself lined up for the ball cushion escape. Or you can try and miss the red in its entirety and get very lucky of actually not giving this position away to Zhou. So, I mean, as I say, one thing about 1-for-7, no matter how good of a position you're going to get, you have to play all those shots perfectly. And it's a nice little break of 48 points. Unforced errors 3. Are you having a laugh? That is absolutely not true. I can think about 6 mistakes that would be classified as unforced errors there by Ronnie already. And that was one of them. I mean, I would like actually to see how many of those unforced errors Yuelong has, because he has played absolutely horrible shot there and gets Ronnie lined up with a perfect chance once again. I mean, yeah, it has been a bit of a battle of the calamity players. Now, Ronnie needs to use this as a momentum builder. Needs to try and keep Yuelong now in his chair. Try and get himself another break of at least 50 points. You know, he got the break of 48 points previously. And now gets himself lined up for the red. A pot success sort of 84%, which for RonnieOSullivan standards, especially for the amount of pots that he's gone for, is going to be absolutely dreadful of a stat. Now pink to be taken into the right middle. So at this stage you have to say, don't take the frame for granted. Try and get yourself over the line. Still 83 points on the table, so he's going to need positional success 83%. Well, as I say, I probably wouldn't argue with that one too much because, you know, he has had some of those shots that he's actually played a decent positional play for and still managed to miss the red or colour. Now, if you talk about getting himself over the line, he needs a black and a red combination. And I will say, though, the last couple of shots I've actually quite enjoyed watching him play because, you know, he gets down quickly and he strikes the cue ball well, gets the red and the colour straight into the heart of the pocket, and frame time just under 6 minutes, and we know we're winner. That's the way for you to go now, Ronnie. You know, now I don't think he's going to be able to make a century break because you know, he had 99 points on the table at the time he came to the table here. 67 points on the table right now as he gets another red in. But still, the break of 80 points, if he makes a total clearance, is possible. And for Ronnie, it will be a massive boost there to try and take into the last frame until the interval. And I mean, if he goes into that interval with a scoreline of 2 frames each, I mean, it will be an absolute steal there for him. And he can still try and have a little bit of a rejuvenation and a revival there of himself. Now, 91 points. Unanswered there by Zhou. And 43 points on the break. So we had the break of 43, 41, 48 and 47 points there previously by Ronnie. Now we have 44 and counting. So this pink for the first 50 plus break of this match. And of course it is incredible that Yuelong has managed to take 2 frames away from RonnieOSullivan whilst managing his highest break of just 30 points. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. Now 98 points is the advantage. So as I say, still not going to be a century break, but nice little shot there with the rest. Break time 3 minutes, and it's still going to be the break of 51 points. So not quite a century break that he has managed. I think it was the Scottish Open a couple of years ago when he had a century of 5.5 minutes or something. Right, Ronnie, off at your own period. Well, to be fair, I mean, not sure if that comment is argued at me, but I've actually done that. And I'll be very glad if I'm going to be wrong here. Once again, just having a look to see if he's going to go for the pink. And in the end, deciding to go for the black now. And, well, once again, as I say, I'm surprised to see him playing, not going to say super well. He has had that calamity mistake into the right middle. But still, average shot time on the break is 10 seconds. Wobbles the yellow in. Anyone, yeah, say, but I'm going to be talking about myself as well. And I have written him off. I haven't written him off, but I said it will be impossible for him to win if he goes 3-0 down. And 4-1 down as well. Rolling himself up out of position, though, on this brown. Trying to make a break of 90 plus here. Not going to be the case. So the break of 71 points. And I think the frame time was less than 10 minutes there. And RonnieOSullivan is trying to get himself back in this hunt there for the last 16 spot. And for now, it does look like it is going to be against Mark Selby. But it is RonnieOSullivan 1, Yuelong 2, as we approach the last frame of the first mini session. And one thing that you have to say about Ronnie, whether you are going to write him off or not, but he's the only player that is going to decide if he's going to be the winner, because we haven't seen anything of Yuelong that I actually thought we will see. You know, his dominant performances against Jamie Clark and Marco Fu. Yes, you can say you compare the world number 4 and the greatest player of all time to the sort of 120 and the world number ranking, and the player that is on an amateur tour right now. But still, on the snooker, you can have that feeling where it's you against the table, not really you against the opponent. And I thought this was going to be the picture that we're going to see, and it was going to be either Yuelong or Ronnie trying to dominate the show, and in the end, it has been certainly the opening 2 frames have been the matter of mistakes. Mark Selby, by the way, the break of 90, well, not the break of 95 points, but accumulating himself 95 points, and the breaks of 82, 39, and 51 in his encounter with Li Beifan, as he now leads another Chinese player by a scoreline of 3 frames to 0. So doing everything he can to ensure he's going to have an early road home there. Different tables. Oh yes, sorry, I was a bit slow to react on that. Yes, yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point because, of course, qualifiers weren't played in York. As far as I'm aware, they were played in Leicester, and therefore you still have to adjust there. But I still think that, you know, Zhou Yuelong is good enough of a player for him to actually adjust. I think it all comes down to just the fact of he is up against someone that he admires, obviously, as everyone in China. Well, I think so. I haven't got the sort of precise data, but I haven't actually seen any one of the players say that, you know, they don't admire RonnieOSullivan, apart from maybe someone like Hossein Wafai, but you can talk about the numpties conversation a bit later. It's a nice little break there by Zhou, although, I mean, he caught the edge of the blue, but it still was a nice little break-off shot there by him. But, I mean, all that brilliance of Ronnie in the previous frame, he'll go to absolutely nothing, and he'll turn into a disadvantage. Yes, lots of qualifiers gone out. Yeah. True. It is all going to come down to absolutely nothing if Ronnie's going to lose this frame and go into the interval with a scoreline of 3 frames to 1, because the problem that you're going to have is the closer you get to the end part and the end game of this match, and if Zhou Yuelong is able to maintain that 2-frame cushion, I mean, it's just a matter of time until he's going to be able to get himself over the line. But for now, it's a nice little shot there of a safety play of Ronnie. Zhou is trying to get the left-hand side of those reds, but he's going to push it over the pocket. Where's the cue ball going to be? And he ain't going to be in the safe spot. Now, can Ronnie find the way for him to stop the cue ball for the block? I don't think he can. Unfortunately, I don't think he can. I think he's going to have to try and play this one with brute force and try and face the cue ball onto the top part of the table because of the angle he's got on this. It's basically in the pocket, but you still need to drop it in the pocket. And yeah, I mean, if he was a bit closer to the pocket, maybe he would have had himself in with a chance, but he has to play with more power and play the shot pretty well. A bit unlucky on the cannon that he got, but he's still going to be on the green now. But it is going to be a difficult shot there for Ronnie, so has to make sure he gets this one in, and then he's going to be on the reds, and I'm on the colours there for him. Play the shot nicely, to be fair, and this is more like it. This is more like Ronnie that we know, but don't celebrate just yet. And that's relevant to me as well. Get himself lined up for the black ball cushion and the black ball spot, and then still try and make sure you're not going to have any of those silly errors, which we have seen plenty of already. The break of 5 points now. Bit of distance in between the cue ball and the black. So once again, probably that last shot, which is going to get him in that prime situation for trying to win this frame. And it's a nasty one, the way that he has to go onto the cue ball. I mean, he gets this one in with such tight pockets. It is going to be a real confidence builder, that shot. It may look simple, and he was the black off the spot, but the way he played it, as long as he doesn't miss the next red, which he nearly did. You always say that, you know, he goes from sublime to ridiculous very quickly. And, well, I mean, it's fine margins, but he has managed to wobble those reds and blacks in. And at this stage, I don't think it's going to matter for him. And Ronnie's still on the break of 20 points. And right now, it is going to be 30 points without any answer from Zhou Yuelong. Of course, didn't score any points in the previous frame. And now Ronnie gets himself lined up for a perfect chance. And you have to say, that chance for a maximum, even though he still resulted in red being missed into the right middle, he clearly was a sort of a break that gave Ronnie that chance and that confidence to try and find himself on the rhythm. And ultimately, now trying to apply a bit more pressure on Zhou, trying to go level on the score sheet until we reach the interval. And at this stage, apart from, you know, Ronnie making another horrible error, it is going to be not going to say a simple task, but it's going to be a mission possible there for sure for him. 36 points of an advantage. Still having all sorts of reds to choose from. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 easily. All of them can be potted, and the pot success has gone from 82 to 91%. Positional play, I think, is going to improve massively as well. And going to be very straight on the blue, but that's fine for now, because he's going to have the red marginally on the top part of the table and just forces the cue ball to be lined up very straight on that one. Once again, edging closer to that 50 plus points of a break. Table time 49% for Ronnie right now, 51 for Yuelong. Bit surprised with that, to be fair, because Ronnie dominated the previous frame. And of course, spend the majority. Well, to be fair, it was only 6 minutes, and the opening two were quite lengthy. Now the break of 48 points, so needs the red and the black for him to make another break of 50 plus points. So the frame time once again on to 5 minutes, and it is going to be another break of 50 plus points, 56 points right now. So edging on that sort of 71 as his highest break of the match so far. Zhou remains on that 30 points that he has managed to score in, I think it was the opening frame. And, I mean, for Ronnie to make a century, I think he will need the help of one of those two reds at least. Very close by the right-hand corner. But now it's all about trying to get this frame on the board. And, I mean, in 10 minutes, he has managed to go from playing absolute crap to playing absolute brilliant snooker. And, well, getting himself lined up for a 72 points of a cushion, 72 points of a break, and blinking you'll miss him. They say for a reason. It is RonnieOSullivan. Not going to say back to his best, but certainly playing some great snooker now. The frame time has gone less than 6 minutes, and it's still going to be the perfect outcome there for him. Of course, if we're going to see a century break, Mark Allen so far in the top 16, the only guy out, it is Ronnie. It is Ronnie, and as I say, I am very glad to be wrong on that subject. I didn't really write him off there, but I was very close to doing it. I'll tell you that for free. And as I say, I am going to be a very happy man seeing him play like this, trying to think about the way to go into those two reds to ensure that he's going to entertain the fans to a century. For now, he has got one more red available, but he's going to run himself out of position, so it's double or nothing for him to try and get this break going. Oh, he has tried to cut this red into the right middle. What a shot that is. Still needs the pink in. And of course, with that shot, he has managed to get those two reds in open play. Gets the pink in as well. So it is going to be, well, it looks like it is going to be the century break there. 95 points right now. The possible of 138. He's going to go for the blue now. So that's 138. He's going to go down to 136. But what a shot he's played into the right middle. That is going to be one for the highlights reel. I know that it didn't matter for the frame, but it's still is going to be a century on your board now as the camera is still showing the replay. And Ronnie manages to get the blue in, and we are going to go on the interval with a perfect ending there, with a happy ending, with happy days for RonnieOSullivan. Now just trying to go for, I don't think it is going to be the highest break of the tournament, of the main draw. I mean, I know that we had a maximum made twice by Chang Min Yu and Liam Pullen, but don't know if he had a 140 of a break. Ronnie doing the O'Sullivan work century. I mean, it certainly has been the perfect century there for him, and we're here for it. Once again, a bit of vintage O'Sullivan there, and probably one of the best centuries that I've seen him make all season. The fact that he comes off after such a struggle time earlier on in the match, and a Triple Crown event. You know, if he plays like that, as I say, he can go from sublime to ridiculous, but if he plays like that, nobody will be able to stop him. It's just a question of, yes, he can play, you know, maybe one, maybe two frames on the bounce, but can he make maybe 3 matches on the bounce like that? Because if he is going to be the odds favourite for the tournament. And the break of 103 points as he tries to get the pink and the white at the same time. It doesn't quite work like that, but it's still an absolutely brilliant break there from Ronnie. And it is 2 frames each going into the interval, and blink and you'll miss him. All of a sudden, that 2-0 of a gap from Yuelong has been wiped out, and it is going to be now Ronnie back to, well, things being level at least. Lipe Fan trying to re-establish himself back in that match against Mark Selby, but we are going to go into a 15 minutes intermission, which is still going to be longer than frames number 4 and 3 by RonnieOSullivan, and we are back. Let's hope that Ronnie will be able to re-establish himself, playing so well once again, and Yuelong, well, He's got a mountain to climb there once again for him if he ain't going to be able to step up his game himself. Right then, everybody, now the intermission is over, and let's see if it is going to be all over there for Zhou Yuelong, because, well, if you ask me, it will be if RonnieOSullivan manages to rediscover more or less the same form, but he ain't really been able to do that with a break-off shot now, catching the blue pretty much full ball and allowing the chance away to Zhou Yuelong now into the right corner. But the problem is, I mean, the pink is going to be out of the game for the time being, and the black would be so as well. So you have to be mindful of the way that he's going to try and get the cue ball to the top part of the table. And it's a decent shot played there, but in the end, he's still going to get the red in. So not quite on the top part of the table. And with OSullivan catching the blue, it's not going to be available to him at this stage, I think, with the green being in the way. So I think Zhou will have to take the green on himself. And remember, he has already managed to do better in the 5th frame than he has managed in the frames number 3 and 4, not scoring a single point in those. And let's see if he's going to be able to turn a page there. Gets the green in. Where's the cue ball going to finish? Needs to avoid the contact on the red. And yeah, needs to go a bit further. And in the end, I mean, if he was playing for the red closer to the black, he's played the shot to an absolute perfection. But I think he was trying to get himself lined up for the other red. And yeah, ultimately, it is going to be the red into the right middle, which ideally want to save there for him. Getting the cue ball to the top part of the table once again, and trying to start it all over again. Don't think he's going to try and go for the green pocket, because it wouldn't make sense for him to try and risk it while still not having a clear chance of the colour. And yeah, so just rolls it into the right middle. Bit tight there to the cushion with the cue ball. And well, now he's going to try and re-establish the blue back on his spot. And, well, I say that. I had a look at it to see if he's going to be able to get the blue. By the way, Mark Selby absolutely flying against the other Chinese qualifier. Li Beifan, and Selby is 2/3 away into their last 16 match, which he's going to have to play if he does manage to win 2 more frames against either Ronnie or Yuelong here. Now, let's see if he's going to be able to get the blue in. You will. Now, where's the cue ball going to finish? It is going to be pacey. And, well, it's actually worked out all right there for him. Because even though he was pacey, he kind of got the black out of the way. And now gets himself lined up for the red. But, I mean, I say kind of was all right because I thought the black was possible. He ain't going to be possible. So unless he's going to be able to find a gap there for the cue ball to be squeezed onto the top part of the table, which I don't really think is going to be the case, he's going to have to try and make the black free of captivity of those reds. And see if he's going to be able to do that. I mean, he kind of did, but it's going to be a nasty shot now for him to play. The black is possible, but I mean, is it worth taking this on? Especially with I mean, he does seem to be confident about it, so maybe I overestimate the difficulty of the shot. But, oh yeah, he's able to get the cue in between the 2 reds. That makes the job a bit easier there for him. And just try and roll the black in. I think he's still going to catch the front jaw, though. He will. And even though I say, no, that makes shot easier, it doesn't make it a guarantee pot. And it is going to be a black missed into the right corner. Now, of course, that doesn't leave a chance away to Ronnie, because the black is going to go in the way of the red, which could have been potted there. And, well, ideally, what we don't really want to see there is a bit of a stalemate in between the 2 players, which sometimes does happen if one of those colours does go and cover one of those corner pockets. For now, Ronnie just using the red along the black ball cushion to get the cue ball onto the top part of the table. And leaving a safety shot away to Zhou Yuelong here. And yeah, he has to be very careful not to touch, of course, anywhere near the left-hand side of the pocket with the black locating there. I mean, it's a decent line there with the cue ball, but I think he's going to be short in pace. And if OSullivan is able to get his hand on the table properly, I think he has to go for this red. It does seem to be going for it. Now, if he gets the red in, almost certainly will have the black in. And, well, I mean, it was a big if. Is he going to get the green in, though? I mean, he managed to get something in. It wasn't the cue ball, but it was the green. And, of course, once again, adding that to the foul shot previously with him potting the cue ball. After that 1, 2, 3 of a break. I actually don't think it is going to be a minor well, sort of a major difference maker, because, you know, Zhou Yuelong has got a chance now to come back to the table, but I don't think he can play the same red that OSullivan has missed previously. Therefore, he has to go for the lower part of the table there for him to try and play and find a safety shot from. Once again, technically, he can try and nudge those reds into the left corner, but A, it's going to be a very difficult of a shot, and B, you're going to send the cue ball right in amongst the reds, which is going to be a bit of a suicide mission for you right now. And, well, I mean, Zhou Yuelong ain't going to be a happy man right now because he was desperately trying to get that cue ball onto the ball cushion with that red being thrown in towards the blue line, but hasn't played the shot well at all. And you can see the shake of that as soon as he hit that one. He knew that he messed it up now. It's a chance for Ronnie. You can try and get the red into the left corner or left middle. I think the shot into the left corner is going to be more of a logical selection. And try and get the cue ball lined up for the black. Now, let's see if he's going to be able to make it. He will. Perfect shot there by Ronnie. And now, can he be exactly where he left off in the fourth frame? Keeping the black in the pocket for now. So, obviously trying to use that one as a get out of jail card later on. Going for the blue at this moment in time. So, I mean, still, he ain't going to be as good of a position as he had in frame number 3 and 4. But, you know, having that black over the pocket, which will be taken out right now, manages to get 3 reds in open play. So that's going to be a very healthy thing for him to do. And once again, just stringing those shots with very little time in between. It's always a nice thing there, especially when he makes those shots in. Hasn't quite been the case throughout the majority, well, certainly throughout the start of this match. Now, gets himself level on points, lines up for the black, and having 4 more reds available into the corner pockets to be taken. And just having a look to see if he's going to have anything in the way of that black as he tries to take it. And, well, one at a time there for Ronnie. He was able to make a break of 71 and 123 points. Was on for a 136 clearance. Managed to pot the paint, but got the cue ball with it. Now 7 points is the advantage for Ronnie. Once again, getting that easier red, which he has managed to get himself onto into the right corner. And his record in the UK Championship, I mean, 31 appearances, debuted in 1992. Matches win and loss, 102 wins, 22 losses, centuries, 141 centuries, highest break, obviously, 147, and finals, well, 8 wins in the final and 1 loss in the final. Didn't actually know that he lost the UK Championship final. Thought you won them all. And, yeah, just getting himself lined up for a nice little cushion here of 23 points and counting. So all about this red to be taken into the right middle. With a bit of backspin on the cue ball, playing the shot really nicely. It's one of those shots that, you know, first or second frame, you would say that it's an impossible shot before Ronnie, but right now makes it look very easy indeed. Controls the cue ball just about well enough to get himself lined up for the red into the left corner, but marginal once again. Has to be mindful of that. But of course, as long as he's on the right side of those marginal shots there, he will be able to progress further on the break. The break of 47 points. So after not making the 50 plus break in the opening 2 frames, now he's going to make 3 on the bounce. And the break of 54 points and counting. So ahead by 39 points, still 67 on the table. And gets the red in, but yeah, he's going to compromise himself on the position on the next colour though. Selby bit Ronnie in 2016. Did he? Fair play, thank you. I know that Selby was very much dominating the game in 2016. I know you won. Did he not win the title in 16 and 17 of the World Championship? So, I mean, fair play there to Mark. I mean, Ronnie, what on earth are you doing there? Brilliant shot there. Sorry if I scared anyone, but that was a good side of what on earth are you doing. Going for the black into the right corner, manages to get this one in. And I don't think he'll be rewarded for it. You know, he's trying to play for the red onto the top part of the table. And unfortunately, still going to run himself out of position there, having the brown in the way of that cue ball. So still a break of 62 points. I think you would have absolutely bite your hand off for that in the start of this match. Now 47 points of an advantage, 49 on the table. So a red and an expensive colour needed there for Ronnie to make sure that he is going to be off to a great start and winning 3 frames on the bounce here against Zhou. And for Zhou's point of view, I mean, hasn't really done an awful lot wrong now in this frame, but that one mistake and that one chance that he's given away to Ronnie, well, doesn't seem to be have proven costly for now. Because if Zhou gets himself in with a chance, I still would think that he'll be your favourite for the frame. But as it stands, you know, he's got the brown in a semi-difficult position. Perfectly just above its spot, but closer to the ball cushion than usual. And again, doesn't seem to have a straightforward safety shot planned in his head. So just trying to get that red onto the lower part of the table. Has he played it with enough power there? Because, I mean, he can cut this one, but he's Ronnie going to go for it because it's going to be such a thin cut on the edge there. I think he can, and I think he probably should go for it. But it's one of those, I know he's been playing well, but it's one of those shots that you have to be playing really well for you to make this one in. But as I say, he gets the red in, he's on the colour, and he's got to frame one. I think he's going to just use the same red as a safety shot, so... Oh, he's gone for it into the right corner. Where's the cue ball going? It is going to be in the pocket. So the red is going to be missed, but the cue ball is going to make it into the pocket. Now, what does this leave Yuelong with? Because if that red has gone onto the top part of the table, which it has, the question is, where's he actually finished? And is Zhou going to be able to try and get himself lined up for the opening red? He will. Oh, I mean, I did say if he gets himself on a chance, he's a favourite for the frame for me. And that is going to be the... I mean, as I say, apart from that brown, he's got everything on perfect terms and perfect positions there. It ain't going to be sort of short of points because of that 4 points just given away there to him. So 42 points of a disadvantage and still having a red to play after this one. Before he gets to 43 points still being left out on the table. Now takes the green into its own pocket and... yeah, he had a look previously to see if one of those reds was able to be potted into the right and left corner. Does seem to be the case now. It could be a massive steal here for Zhou. And it just has to be careful that he doesn't push one of those reds onto the side cushion. Has to be limiting the pace of the cue ball. I mean, he has managed to complete that task, but he's run himself a bit short on the black here. I think he was trying to play for the pink. In the end, the red has gone in the way of the pink, so has to go for the black, which is still going to be easier than the black that RonnieOSullivan has managed to pot previously in this frame. But it is Yuelong there, so... You know, Ronnie didn't focus on the positional play either that much at that time. And now, 38 points of a disadvantage, of a gap, of a deficit there for Yuelong to try and overcome. And of course, if he misses the black... The next red will be frame ball, and I think he will miss it. Is he going to drop in? Just about will. So, yeah, I thought that was going to drift wide. And in the end, he's played the shot just about well enough. Now behind by 31 points. And as I say, now those two reds probably in perfect positions there for him. And just try and get through to the brown. And that cannon from the brown onto the blue is probably going to be the only point where he can go wrong there for him. So just try and be on slightly higher parts of the table than the brown. Try and get it into the yellow pocket and get yourself lined up for a straightforward 3-colour clearance. And the break off 18 points right now could still be by far the highest of Yuelong's campaign in this match. Behind by 5 points, and remaining is 35. So as I say, ain't going to be shy on points, even if he goes for the yellow after this red, which does seem to be the case. And well, Ronnie has to be nervous once again because, you know, it looked like for all the time in the world he was going to go 3-2 up and win 3 frames on the bounce. Instead, his opponent is about 4 shots away. Well, probably 5 shots away because he's going to need the 6-colour clearance now. Before he's going to be able to re-establish that frame lead once again against the 7-time world champion. Needs to be straight on the green though. And, well, I mean, he could have played this shot better on the yellow because even if he's straight on the green, he's only going to allow himself to be sort of on the lower part of the brown, which is going to have to require that shot to be played with more power. Ooh, I mean, he's gone for a difficult shot now because the cue ball is going to be quite far away from the brown. Usually you'd have to roll this one in with pretty much no power at all. This is missable there for the brown, and he also needs to make sure he's going to have the pace on the cue ball for it to reach the blue and be on the right side of it. Played it with power, played it with conviction, and played it really, really well. Now, where's the cue ball finished? And he has finished fine on the blue. So once again, mission accomplished from that point of view. And the break of 30 points is going to be repeated there by Zhou. And he's going to take that to break of 35 points. So still has to be on the lower part of the pink here. And, well, he's going to be able to adjust the left-hand side spin here. Just roll the pink in with a bit of left-hand side. Get himself positioned for the black to be taken into the right corner. And now, once again there, not for the first time, it will be the black for the frame here for Zhou. He had to work for every single one of those frame wins. And in the end, Ronnie will have to blame himself for that. Didn't quite get over the line. Had some brilliant shots in the making. And in the end, it is going to be the break of 48 points, which is going to get Yuelong over the line here. And it is Yuelong 3, RonnieOSullivan 2, going into frame number 6. And it's still far from over there from any point of view. And whichever way you look at it, especially if you're going to be a fan of RonnieOSullivan there, because, you know, it looked like for all the time it was going to be finally time for Ronnie to try and run away with it with Selby. I mean, bloody hell, Selby is playing absolute brilliant stuff there. 4-0 of advantage against Li Beifan. And now on the break of 43 points and counting. 350 plus breaks. Not quite a century break there by Mark. But Li Beifan has got absolutely nothing to offer. And he's about to probably lose another frame to go 0-5 down to the Jester from Leicester. I mean, what are your thoughts on this one? Because it ain't looking good for Ronnie once again. I mean, he's probably going to be a minor favourite going into that frame number 6. But, I mean, overall in the match now, 172 as it stands, 2.10 for Zhou. And, listen, he was never going to win this match by 6-1, 6-2. Like, he never had the material for it going into this match of just playing flawlessly well and leaving Zhou with absolutely no chance of, you know, getting himself onto the table. But realistically, I don't think Ronnie's going to be able to guarantee himself a comfortable decider. And if Ronnie wins, Selby will correct. Well, explode the rated. I was thinking about it into interval, but we're still far away from that. Let's leave that for the sort of the moment where we say Ronnie's won it and is brilliant. But if you are to ask me about it, it will be such a contrasting match. And I just feel like Selby will be able to exploit the maximum of Ronnie. Like, he'll just genuinely, he'll try to wear him down with Zhou now raising up to the table to play the break-off shot now for frame number 6. He will just try to absolutely destroy him on the safety battle. And you feel like, with the way that Ronnie has played this game, it could be one of those 6-1, 6-2 wins for Mark Selby. But we're yet to get to that stage. And for now, Ronnie needs to make sure he wins 4 out of the remaining 7 frames here. Sort of 6, apologies. You can't have 12 frames in the first to 6. And, well, Ronnie straight away. I mean, this shot wouldn't work against Selby. That's what I'm saying. Because he's gone for the red into the right corner. And even though, yes, you could say he got a nice little traction on the cue ball. But, I mean, he still leaves a potential red away, which Zhou ain't going to take. Because it's 3-2 up there on him. But Selby might take, with his long shots actually being one of his strengths lately on the tour. Game on, Ronnie will put pressure on. Well, I mean, hopefully, as I say, but I don't really see the way for him to try and go on about business, because the opening 2 frames have been really straightforward for you to analyse. If you are to put a match review on it, you have to say Ronnie has played absolutely horribly. But the previous frames actually played quite well, and he still wasn't able to get over the line. Now, a long pot potential. Ooh, brilliant shot there by Ronnie. Nearly potting the cue ball into the right middle. And ultimately cue this one to an absolute perfection. So, it's another chance there for the Rocket. And once again, needs this frame. Absolutely does need this frame. Because 4-2 down, we're going to be back to square one there. After that 2-0 of a deficit for him at the start of this match. I mean, the position is alright. 6 reds on the lower part of the table, all in around the black spot, which can be played. But first colour is going to be a massive point for debate there for Ronnie. He goes for a difficult blue, manages to take it. Doesn't want to be straight on this red, though. Yeah, he's going to be fine here, I think. He's got a little bit of the angle. But is it going to be enough there for him to play backspin? Ooh, lovely little shot there once again. Underrated that. That was difficult for him to cue this well. Now, once again, in and around the black spot. So, a bit more of what we've seen in the 5th frame, please. But this time around, make it not the break of 62 points, but the break of sort of 72 points. which will get you over the line here. Well, I should do, unless you're going to be on the maximum, which already ain't possible for him playing the blue ones. Now taking the black twice, and referee's going to be running around like crazy now, trying to keep up with his pace. Rolls another red in. Highest break, as you can see, 123 and 48 in comparison. And the average break when it has been more than 2 pots, 40 points for Ronnie and 22.4 for Yuelong there. And once again, lovely little shot there, trying to play the cue ball off into the reds, having that one available into the left corner, whatever happens. And 30 points of an advantage. Plays the red with a bit of power, doesn't want the cue ball to stick to this red though. I mean, he had a very nervous look at it. Is he going to be able to get past it? I mean, doesn't have the confirmation for it. Let's see. Yes, he was able to do that. Nice, nice, nice. Had me worried there. Because of not having the ability to play for the black would have actually put him out of position here, of course, at this stage. But he's still going to be in the hunt now for the break of 50 points at least now. You know, he's on 39 points. So probably 60 points really, because he's got 2 more reds in open play. You play those with 2 more blacks and you're going to be on 60 points anyway. Maybe use the blue after the final of those reds to get yourself into the bunch quite nicely out there. And Ronnie just having a look to see if he's going to be able to go for those 2 reds into the... Oh yes, he's got a nice little plant available for him. Just has to control the weight. He powers this red into the right corner. Once again, a beautiful shot in the making. And surely now has got more than enough reds in open play there for him. And I mean, nearly said 3 frames. I hate when commentators do that. The 2 frames so far that Ronnie has managed to win have actually been frames of less than 10 minutes. And, well, you'll be hoping to make this one 3 out of 3 there. But it's a bit straight on this red, though. It's a rest shot, which you can't really do anything with. So you'll have to put a bit of distance in between the cubo and the black. Now, 55 points in between himself. And Yuelong gets the black in to the left corner. And 62 points once again. So complete deja vu to the previous frame. Once again, 83 points on the table. So potential 145 as it stands. With taking the blue only once. But needs to make sure he's going to be able to get the red in a couple of more times. And he manages to get the first one in. So now just one more shot needed there for him. 70 points. And the next red is going to be... yeah, that's fine. So it is going to be leaving 67 on the table with 71 as the advantage. And Ronnie goes for a more difficult shot. Had to make that one stick and did. So 71 points now. And it is going to be another frame taken by Ronnie. And I'm going to go back to that quarter pole in a minute. Because I think Ronnie is getting way too much of the percentage out there. GG certainly. And I mean, now you can say that I'm pretty sure this frame is going to be less than 10 minutes as well. And you can just see he's absolutely flying now. And taking absolutely no time on those shots. And still getting all of those reds, all of those blacks straight to the heart of the pocket. And, I mean, if I said that a 138 wasn't going to be enough for the highest break of the entire tournament, especially for the main draw, I think a 145 will. And ever since playing that opening blue, O'Sullivan has been on the blacks here for the remainder of those shots. And, well, it's a bit weird for me to say that, but you have to be feeling a bit like that when, as a Ronnie fan, but although he will run himself out of position on this red, but you know that chance that he had in the third frame for a maximum, it just felt like he was actually playing well, could have actually seen something special. Not quite a century break though, but still the break of 94 points, and once again, not sure how long that frame took, but he's certainly taken no more than 10 minutes there, and not more than RonnieOSullivan is needed. It is now things back level, and after a scoreline of 0-0, 2 frames each, it is now 3 frames each, and still nothing to separate Yuelong or RonnieOSullivan. So, and yeah, gonna go back to that quarter sort of poll, because you've got the all English quarter, you've got off-seeded players, you've got Barry Hawkins, you've got Karen Wilson playing later on today. You've got Mark Selby and RonnieOSullivan being in action right now. One of them is trying to battle for his life, and the other one is still trying to demolish and whitewash Li Bei Fan. with him being 5 frames up on the Chinese player. And yeah, I mean, if I was to make one of those players, I probably would have to say Ronnie, because I'm not really being impressed with Kyren Wilson's form. But, I mean, you're going to say Ronnie purely for the name, not really anything else for, because if Selby is going to meet Ronnie, and it's still a big gift, not so much for Selby, but it certainly is a big gift for Ronnie to try and get past the machine of Zhou Yuelong. I mean, I just can't see the way that this Ronnie is going to be able to outplay Selby, because you ain't going to be able to outscore Selby. Because Selby will be able to slow the game down enough to make sure that he's going to be able to bring Ronnie in his world. And Ronnie ain't going to survive in Selby's world. At this stage, 9 times out of 10, I just see Ronnie losing that match, to be honest with you. But he will be for another day, of course. But I'm just saying that, you know, if I was to make, logically, if I was to pick one of those players to win the quarter, and I had to choose in between the 4 seeded English players, I probably would have to go for Selby, because he has played against Yuelong, though. I will say that. He has played against Zhou Yuelong in the semi-final of the English Open, and Zhou was able to win that one, and I'm pretty sure he was pretty comfortable. He was getting a bit lucky, I remember that, but, you know, sometimes you need a bit of luck as a player. But, I mean, I just think that Zhou was able to be patient that time with Selby. I don't think Ronnie is going to be able to. Anyway, let's get back into Table 1 and last 32 match. Don't count your chickens for now. And, I mean, once again, count the times that RonnieOSullivan's got the blue in after the break-off shot. Certainly 2 now. We have seen one from Zhou Yuelong as well, but this time around it's just a little brush off the blue, and ultimately it actually worked out perfectly for him in terms of the cue ball. Could not have been placed any better on the ball cushion. The blue is going to go slightly above its line and closer to the bulk line area. And, I mean, Zhou is just looking to see if he's going to be able to nudge the reds from the left-hand side into the right corner for himself, and try and get the cue ball to the top part of the table once again. So we have guaranteed ourselves to see 9 out of those 11 frames, which certainly is going to entertain the fans. And, well, once again, a bit of a similar performance to what we've seen in the International Championship, I would say, from Ronnie, because he gets a very slow start, and glimpses of him actually show that he's, you know, nearly back to his best. And then you'll still have those mistakes which can't really accept that at this level. I mean, Zhou Yuelong has gone for a decent shot, but caught the brown full ball, and now it all comes down to if Ronnie is going to go for this long red. He has made a couple in a row. Probably should not have said that before the shot, because he's missed it. Once again, cannons the cue ball onto the blue, and it's actually worked out perfectly there for him. And I mean, it's twice he's done that now in this frame. Don't really think he should have gone for that red, for the simple reason of, you know, it was a really difficult challenge for him to try and get the red in and still get that cue ball off into the top part of the table. Ronnie, long game struggling. Yeah, I think there you go, 43%. So, and it would have been worse if he hasn't made those 2 shots in the previous frame. No, I think that one was in frame number 5, and he had one which has actually started in the break in the previous frame with a long shot, which he has made 2 out of 2. So I just think that he's taken way too many of them, especially at the start when he wasn't playing too well. Safety is set at 77%. Well, I think that's a bit harsh. I think Ronnie's safety play hasn't actually been that bad. 77 is, I mean, it's not bad, but it's certainly not great there for you. Well, I suppose safety thing is one of those things. Well, I mean, what a long shot. I mean, forget about safety play. What a long shot that is. Come on, he deserves a bit of luck now on the green, and he ain't going to get it. That's a shame, that, because it was an absolute wonderful of a long shot. And he had to bridge over the brown the entire length of the table. The cue ball is very much in a straight line in towards the red. I mean, that was such a brilliant shot there, and he's so unlucky not to have the perfect chance to resume the break. He got himself in between of trying to go for the yellow or green now into the yellow pocket, and yeah, he's going to go for the green, but he can miss this shot now, and it'll be a very, very painful scenario, but he ain't going to miss it now, so forget about missing for now. Ronnie does seem to be like he's picking up the pace, and he's actually playing some great stuff, as he would say, you know. Now, can he get this red in, get himself lined up for the black once again, and try and apply the pressure for the first time on Zhou Yuelong ever since that 5th frame, where he was trying to go ahead for the first time in the match. Wasn't able to do so after that gap of 47 points. Was overcome there by Zhou. But success, well, I mean, for all the mistakes that they've made in the early part of the match, it has actually looked like it's brilliant numbers there. 91% for Ronnie, 90% for Zhou. Positional success, 90% for Ronnie and 86% for Zhou. Once again, wouldn't really agree with that, but not so much of a difference. And average shot time, that's incredible. 15 seconds, 6 frames in, 15 seconds average shot time for RonnieOSullivan. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. 27 seconds, by the way, for Zhou. Like O'Sullivan, is all of one. He's playing style and ideas are opening play that I like. Speedy, I mean, talk about speedy. Yeah, I mean, that is... Oh, lost the cue ball there. You know, you talk about speed. He lost the cue ball now. Has to recover himself with a difficult shot on the black. And play the shot brilliantly once again. And you have to say, when Ronnie's on it, he's able to just overcome those problems like that. Runs himself out of position, recovers well. And he's able to pull those shots away. Once again, if you play like that from the start, it could have been a 6-1, 6-0 win. But right now, he has to focus on it being the win at all for him to get into a last 16 of a Triple Crown event. Of course, I think he hasn't managed to do it and lost out in the decider last year to Barry Hawkins. Speaking too soon now. I mean, I wasn't really speaking too soon, but making a simple error there and just taking the eye off the pot clearly. Not going to smash the table now, but missing a red into the right corner. A very, very weird mistake there from Ronnie. And yeah, clearly taking the eye off the pot. And the same red has gone onto the cushion there. Last pot time, 12 minutes for Zhou, which the match of the way that he has been played, is probably going to be quite a significant amount of time. So once again there, when Ronnie's trying to apply the pressure for him to be in front, he just seems to be, if not feeling the pressure, then just feeling a bit of inconsistency there. The first shot ain't going to be too easy for Zhou to get himself started, and he's played it in a bad way. Ronnie, he's going to get away with this one, and Zhou is going to be absolutely fuming there. He had a nice little chance. The first shot was a bit difficult, to be fair, but he catches another red there on the way into the left middle, and Ronnie is going to have a lot of reds to choose from. Well, I say a lot of reds. He's got one in left middle, one into the right middle, and just send the cue ball onto the bulk part of the table. Miss the yellow, and he is going to miss the yellow, so just doesn't want to be straight on the brown, and he ain't going to be. So now, once again, Ronnie looking to get himself back in prime sort of position for the frame, and well, certainly seems to be up for it. Once again, just having 2 looks straight away to see where that red is located, making sure that he's going to be lined up perfectly on it, getting the ball colours to be re-established back to normal. And well, what it probably means is we're not going to see a century break, but from the second time of asking, unless it's going to be one of those like the opening frame where he had 5 or 6 chances and still wasn't able to overcome that, it is going to be Ronnie trying to apply the pressure on Zhou and win the frame for the second visit to the table. 41 points is the advantage now for him. Remember, the previous one had 47 points with 59 still on the table after the break of 62 points, with the response to the break of 15 points made previously by Joel himself. Now we'll try to get the pink and blue re-established as the last 2 colours, which are not on their spots for now. The blue will be put back to its original position now, and going to be lined up for the red. So match score 30 plus breaks 6, total points 543, highest break 123, and average break when it's been more than 2 pots 43.8. 1 century made there by Ronnie, and 48 points for an advantage there. 83 on the table does seem to be a magical number when he makes a mistake there. We have seen that in frame number 5. Let's see if that's going to be changed here though. Needs to get a couple of more reds out of the way for him to be, well, left out with something like 67 points on the table. And I think at that stage, it will be more of a points advantage for Ronnie to try and go with. Dip and Mala says that Ronnie gone. Well, I'm here with you on this one. Certainly Ronnie gone. Please, more of this is all I'm going to say there. If Ronnie continues to play like that, he's going to be able to be a real threat for the title. But of course, he's going to have to produce those sort of frames 3rd and onwards on every single time of those occasions, which me and some of the other fans will probably question whether he's going to be able to do that. For now, gets a nice little black in. So a red and a colour combination. He's going to get him. Ahead in this match for the first time. Trying on match forward. Leading now. Well, certainly, let's just hope there's not going to be any trespassing or any delays there for him. And he's all going to go along the schedule. I mean, just as I say that, it was a framed ball on the black off the spot and he's missed that one. I mean, what on earth are you going there? I mean, he does seem to be surprised. I mean, you remember the yellow that I mentioned? I mean, that probably is just about as simple. The black off the spot, and you can see the pure shock on his face there when he's jumped out of the pocket, and he's not over the line there. Ronnie, please do 6-3. Well, he's not over the line now. The black would have made that, but he ain't going to be over the line now. And, I mean, he will need Zhou to get to the black as soon as possible, because he needs to make sure he loses 2 points maximum at this break of 5 reds, plus 6 colour clearance. You can see there's a little bit of marks there left out from all the Q action on the previous frames. Yeah, so has to hammer this red in and leave himself with a bit of a long shot off the black, or the shot into the right middle. I mean, you better be doing these maths right, because I don't really understand the way of going for the pink into the right corner, the right middle, I should say. Ronnie, I believe in you. Yeah, I think that's what the fans will be saying as well, but yeah, just not being able to get over the line for now when he's been threatening to go 3-2 and now 4-3 up. Let's see if we are going to have a response for Yuelong, or is it going to be back to RonnieOSullivan? So he is looking at this black now. So, I mean, I think he should have been thinking about it on the previous shot, because if he goes to the black now, he has to turn it into a long shot, and therefore making the sort of next positional shot on the red very much difficult there for him. But he's played it absolutely perfectly out there. And, Alex, how are you? No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I would have been a bit better if it was a 4-3 advantage to Ronnie already, but for now it's 56 points of a deficit for Yuelong to try and overcome. And therefore, as I say, he can lose 2 of those points before he's, well, until he can tie basically, or he's going to need snookers. So he's going to be able to play the pink twice, which I think is going to have to come now, unless he wants to play for the blue. With, well, don't think there's a theoretical way for him to get the position on the black. Be really surprised if he gets the position on the black now. And, yeah, he hasn't played the shot for the pink too well. I mean, A, it's not a guaranteed shot, and B, he has to play this one with power, which is going to get the cue ball away from those reds and make the next positional shot for the black a bit problematic. If Ronnie do 6-3, I treat everyone here. Well, Dippen, we can agree on this one. We can agree on this one, but as I say, I think it's going to come down to that last red, which is currently sitting on the side cushion. And, I mean, realistically, even that one can be rolled in. And, yeah, I don't really see the way which Ronnie's going to win this frame, really. Apart from a massive misjudgment there from Zhou. And he can still afford to go for one more pink. He can't go for the blue now, because if he is to go for the blue, he's going to be able to tie and force a respot. We have seen those, of course, in the, I think it was 7th frame of a match between Stephen Maguire and Judd Trump, after a wonderful little clearance from Trump, after a mistake there from Maguire. Well, it wasn't really a wonderful clearance, it was just straightforward, a red, black, and a 6 colour clearance there. So Zhou taking a lot of time on the shot, so clearly just looking to see if he's going to be able to get the cue ball lined up for the black, and the answer is no. So he's going to use his last opportunity of going for any other colour other than the black right here, right now. And he has missed his shot previously in terms of messing the positional play up. Not on this occasion, though. I'm going to have the shot lined up perfectly. And as I say, it's still fine in terms of if he gets 2 reds, 2 blacks in, he's going to be absolutely fine. But I think he's overplayed here, and I think he knows it. He's going to get the cue ball on the cushion, but he's going to be with a bit of distance in between the white and the red itself. And, well, 41 points of an advantage here for him. He can try and roll the black in. And once again, wasn't able to hold the cue ball. And this is turning into a bit of a nasty shot there. Remember, he can't afford to go for any other color than the black here, and therefore he can't afford to do anything other than actually potting the black. So making the red in and running himself out of position ain't gonna work here. The red is perfectly on the cushion, which makes the shot a bit easier, and he makes it stick there. So bad news for Ronnie fans, and bad news for everyone in the chat there, because it doesn't look like Dippin will be treating us to anything, because 6-3 our scoreline ain't going to be possible. 33 points now of a deficit, still 34 technically on the table. Now, well, realistically, can go wrong here from the black to yellow transition. Well, I mean, I didn't really think that was going to be the case, but it has gone a bit wrong. He's going to need a rest shot, and it's one of those where if you get the yellow in, you're always going to get the position on the green. But once again, you have to go back to this horrible mistake from Ronnie. And, I mean, for the stage of the frame, you could just see absolute shock and horror look on his face, because he knew that he wasn't over the line. But you will get another chance. Or will he? I mean, the yellow is missed, so he's going to come back to the table, but he's still going to get himself snookered. So that's not quite perfectly out there for him. But at least I think he'll be delighted to return to the table for at least one more shot. And, of course, now needs a yellow as it stands for him to be over the line. And, well, had to play a cushion first shot. Now is he going to leave this yellow away? Needs the pink to come to his rescue. And I think he has come. I don't think Zhou's going to be able to go for this red, for this yellow into the right corner. And therefore, it is going to be another safety battle. Hello, everyone. Hello. We've got the Great Crasher as well. And happy days. Well, it is going to be happy days for RonnieOSullivan fans and me as well. If it is going to be Ronnie to take this yellow away from Zhou and try and get himself lined up for 4-3 of a advantage to try and deal with going into the end game phase of this match. But for now, it will be a massive advantage to Yuelong, because he was able to get the cue ball lined up in behind the pink. And I don't really like this face expression from Ronnie, because it does suggest to me that he's going to go for a hidden hope shot. Not quite. I think he has tried to control it, and he's played it absolutely perfectly. What a way to get himself out of a snooker situation. Getting the cue ball and the yellow pretty much perfectly on the top opposite sides of the table with the diagonal line, with the yellow being closer to the green pocket. Now, so 26 points is the deficit, as I say. Ronnie needs any one of those colours, and Zhou will need all of them. But the yellow does seem to be going quite close to the right corner pocket. But, I mean, anywhere but there, probably have Ronnie to go for it. Right now, it's probably going to be just a safety shot to try and be played. Oh my Christ. I mean, how on earth do you go for that shot as Ronnie? Because, well, I mean, he has missed it. Where's the cue ball going? And you can see with that face of Ronnie that he knows where the cue ball has finished. And oh my word, I have not seen anything like it. Well, I'm not going to say in my life, but certainly this season, because Ronnie has gone for an impossible cut onto the right corner. And with the cue ball travelling 2 parts of the table, he still hasn't actually finished with the way that Zhou was able to pot the yellow straight away. He was able to swerve around it, but that way he leaves himself with a mighty shot to try and take on with the green. And, well, with the cue ball being quite close to the cushion, he still needs all of those 5 colours now for him to be over the line. It is possible, but it's going to be difficult. But it's a wonderful shot on the green. And, well, you have to say, O'Sullivan didn't deserve that look. He had absolutely no right to go for that yellow. And in the end, it does look like it's going to cost him once again those 5 margins every single time so far. Just seems to be against RonnieOSullivan here. And Yuelong is just a couple of pots away from making it. Another steal of a frame there. And Ronnie's going to lose. Rubbish playing. Well, listen, I wouldn't say he's playing rubbish. I think we've gone past the opening 2 frames. But the fact that he's consistently losing those frames ain't going to be a massive portion of good news there for him. And as Yuelong rolls the pink in, it is now the black. I mean, how many times have I said that? Out of 4 frames that he's won, he had to pot the final black 3 times for him to get over the line. And this time around, it is going to be just a single point if he manages to get the black in, and he will. You have to go back to that black being missed off the spot there from Ronnie, and that is one of the worst frames that he's going to lose there because he was so close to the finish line. He was so close to getting himself over the line, but in the end, it ain't going to matter. And it is Zhou Yuelong once again back ahead there, 4-3 of an advantage. And Ronnie finds himself on the back foot, not for the first time in this match. Yes, missing those. No, I mean, he's not missing those sitters. He's just going for the wrong shots, man. Like, he shouldn't go for those shots, which is like when he's not comfortable, that he's going to absolutely nail on get them when he's so late into the Triple Crown event. Like, I get it's not, it's not the final and he's not playing against prime Judd Trump or Neil Robertson, but he still should show a bit more respect to his opponent. And I mean, if anything, I think he was getting more lucky than Zhou Yuelong so far. And if anything, with the cue ball travelling 2 lengths of the table, he still managed to finish in behind the pink, which has forced Zhou to swerve around the pink and left him with a very difficult green. But Zhou has managed to take his chances. Ronnie hasn't. And how, man? Well, Dippen, I told you how. Missing the yellow, missing the black off the spot, which is all actually started with, causing absolute chaos on the table, leaving that chance for Zhou Yuelong, and ultimately losing a couple of more chances. He had them, but he didn't manage to take them. He's still in this match, though. It's not quite the dramatic decider of Jack Lisowski against Ronnie in the International Championship. And even though he's going to be edging to the face-off, if he doesn't win the next frame, he's going to be in massive trouble. But for now, he's still fine in terms of he doesn't need to panic after this break-off shot by Zhou Yuelong. But he certainly needs to make sure he's about to produce some of the best form that we've seen this season. And unfortunately for himself, it ain't going to be a good stat, but he's been putting himself consistently on the back foot in every single one of those matches. Guy Wilson lost quarterfinal, Karen Wilson, Chang Bin Yu, not quite Joe Connor, not quite Chris Wakelin, Neil Robertson in Saudi Arabia Masters. I mean, there's just countless matches which you have to say, if he has managed to start off better, it would have been a very different story. But I say it's nothing to worry about. Shots like that is a lot to worry about because he basically has gone for a go-or-nothing shot and go hard or go home from the cushion on the cue ball, never going to be anywhere near it, and has left a wide open position for Zhou Yuelong to try and do something with. Once again, I think he got lucky in terms of not leaving the simplest red away into the green pocket, but Zhou should be able to get himself lined up for a shot into the right corner. And, I did say before the match has started, I think Zhou will win it. And I think he'll win it with a scoreline of 6-4. For now, it does seem like it could be an absolute steal of a prediction. But, as I say, very much praying that I am going to be wrong on this one. But it's a wonderful shot there from Zhou. And as he was clearly playing for the black is going to be possible, which makes this position very much there for the taking there for Zhou. Still not quite a 50-plus break for him. But ultimately, 4 frame wins up to this point. And now, is it going to be the first time we're finally going to see Zhou Yuelong dominating the frame? And he's got all the ingredients now. It's all about just trying to put them all into the right place at the right time. And 8 points is his advantage now. Trying to go for the red into the right corner now. So just having a look to see if he's going to be able to stay for the pink here at least. I don't think he's going to be able to hold for the black. And you can see once again, both spotted, 155 for Ronnie, 72 for Zhou. And highest break, 48 points, 123 points. I mean, it's absolutely incredible that Zhou has managed to win 4 of those 7 frames. And it's going to be a very significant favour for winning the 5th one as well. But success for Zhou is 90%, 91% for Ronnie still. I mean, some of those mistakes have just been so ridiculous and so costly there for him. Let's see if he's going to see one from Zhou now. And, at this stage, you're going to need one, Ronnie, because he ain't winning 3 frames on the bounce against this form of Zhou Yuelong, especially with the shot that he's gone for at the start of this frame. Clearly, just not bothered anymore about losing, and it's all about, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose on my terms. But he ain't going to win on his terms. He has to try and adjust his game, and that's why I said if he is going to play against Selby, he ain't going to be able to do it. And by the way, I haven't checked how Selby's doing, if he's managed to get himself over the line. 5-1 at that time, so still not quite. But still being very much in control of that particular matchup. And, Ronnie's nowhere near any sort of control now. because he has to spend the majority of this frame sat in his chair hoping for an error, which with the way the reds have actually spread out for Zhou is going to be quite a catastrophic one. Gets himself a bit too close to the black though, and has actually landed the cue ball under it, but manages to recover nicely. Having that red into the left corner is going to suit him even more. And as he rolls the red in, going to get himself lined up pretty straight in his back though, which ain't going to be an ideal case scenario. Also having to bridge over a red. Those are the type of shots that OSullivan needs Zhou to miss for him to come back to the table, but not on this occasion. And as I say, both Ronnie and Zhou are the momentum players. Therefore, if you have a break of 48, which I have seen in the previous frame, he was better than anything else that we've seen from Zhou, and therefore it's going to give him some sort of rhythm and momentum to try and hang on to. And once again, I mean, if you're worried about him running himself out of colours, that ain't going to be the case either, because 43 points now after this blue, and he still has got so many reds to choose from on the top part of the table as well as on the lower part of it. And he will be around 100 points right now without answer from Zhou, and OSullivan of course has done that himself previously, 150 without answer. And well, the response from Zhou should be very quick to follow. I think he run himself a bit short on the red into the left middle, which would have been his prime opportunity, but as I say, he's got so many of those options that it is not an issue for him at all. He's got a red lined up for the green pocket, and but one thing I will say, sometimes, and we have seen that with top seeded players as well, sometimes it just takes players time to get over the line. When you're sort of 5-3 up, sometimes you'll take it to a decider for you to actually win there. But if Ronnie continues to go for those reckless long shots at the start of the frame, giving the perfect chance away to Zhou, which so far is earning 44 points, it is gonna be very much difficult for him in the making. And just going for this yellow into its own pocket. And who will win? At this stage, you have to say Zhou will win. Certainly in this frame. I think it will be a massive mistake if he doesn't actually take this one away at the single visit to the table. He's very close to getting the first 50 plus break for himself. And that's why I said he's such a dangerous player when he's on it. And he wasn't on it for the first part of it. But the problem was, if he wasn't playing well, Sullivan was playing absolute horrible stuff. And even when Ronnie managed to get himself, well, sort of tucked up together, ever since that break of 15 minutes there at the interval, how many frames has he managed to win? 1, when he's been playing really, really well in those 3 now. And, of course, basically thrown away this one by going for the long red. And, but Ronnie win. Well, I bet a few people did. And I actually think it was a very wrong thing to do, because 133, and I mean, well, I ain't going to give you that advice, certainly, but I mean, 133, all I'm going to say is that's not really where the smart going goes for me. 133 for RonnieOSullivan to beat anyone on the professional tour, especially one of the stronger qualifiers. That's why I said he was going to lose for me. Don't really think that was the right choice, but it still could happen. We've seen those comebacks before. We've seen, what was it, 5-0 of Stuart Bingham against Scott Donaldson in the qualifiers. And Scott Donaldson managed to overcome that and win by 6 frames to 5. We have seen Weezer against Jump, 4-0 down, managed to win that one by a scoreline of 5 frames to sort of 6 frames to 4. And well, for Sullivan, he's gonna have to win this one. He's gonna make sure to do it in a decider, he would think, because 64 points of an advantage and 67 on the table. Yeah, he needs this red in, and preferably a colour to keep OSullivan in his chair. And yeah, you will be one of those frames where he could take a single shot there for Ronnie to actually get himself out of the game. And GG's, yes, Kevin, it is going to be GG's with him getting the red in. 59 points on the table. OSullivan ain't getting back to the table. And once again, all he needed was a little bit of a spark, and the previous break of 48 points. He's now going to be topped up by the break of 65 points. And if he makes a century break, he'll be around 20 minutes without pot for Ronnie, which will absolutely kill him at this stage of the match. And Yeah, and I think the highest and, well, I wouldn't really say the highest and the most sort of, how do you say it? The scoreline that I will say is most likely to be the case, with the camera just being once again on that long shot from Ronnie. I mean, what on earth he was thinking there, going for a shot from the cushion to actually go for it. I mean, even if he managed to get the red in, I mean, there's no way in the world that he was going to get the cue ball lined up perfectly through all of those reds. So that's such a silly shot there for him to attempt, but there has been a couple of them. And unfortunately, the main damage has been done where O'Sullivan has been in the easy stage and just missing all the blacks of the spot, missing easy reds, missing some stupid reds, which he has been lining himself up for along the cushion. That one I absolutely can never understand in the second frame. And if you're going to make a match analysis out of it, you can go on about 2 hours about all the mistakes. And Yuelong, by the way, hasn't been perfect himself, but credit to him, he has managed to win 5 frames against a decent playing and a really good playing, sometimes, RonnieOSullivan, and very few people will be able to tell you that. But I just think that's where the similarities are seen in between Yuelong, Wu Yize, Zhao Xington, Li Beifan, those two, well, not necessarily Li Beifan, but certainly last season you could throw him into that, but because they're just so unfazed by whoever's going to be on the opposite side of the table that they go down for the shot, they don't care what's going to happen, and they just go for it. They trust in their ability, and the ability, more times than not, is there to back it up. And we're going to see, we're very likely to see a century break now from Zhou. He only needs the blue and a yellow combination. Could still get it to a highest break of the match here if he makes a total clearance. And edging out that break of 123 by O'Sullivan by a scoreline of well, sort of 2 points at that time, but it is a century break. Well done, turn up. Well, it is certainly, as I say, if you're going to criticise Ronnie and just spend a lot of time doing that, you're going to have to give hats off to Zhou, because when it matters for him at the late stage of those frames, and apart from this one, every single time he's won a frame, he had to dig really deep, and he had to pot either last pink or black for him to get over the line. And you know, the camera is on Ronnie, but I think he should focus on this man right here, because he will be a real threat in the future for those Triple Crown events. Because as the research and the stats say, the Chinese players of his sort of style of play do seem to thrive in those long formatted matches. So maybe he's actually going to, well, if I was to choose an absolute wild card, and that's the reason why I said he's going to be the most dangerous of qualifiers, if I was going to choose an absolute wild card, an absolute outrageous shout for the World Championship crown, I'm going to actually go for Yuelong, because of the way that he manages to find himself in these games sometimes. I mean, he could be unstoppable, and it's all about if he's going to be able to do the same thing as Zhao Xington did, of just not being bothered about the pressure and turning up against the best of very best there. And it could be the match with how Ronnie's playing. Not all, yeah, as I say, I still said that with the 2-0, and Ronnie was able to absolutely turn the page to new level and, you know, take 2 frames with, I don't know, less than 20 minutes. I think it was, one of them was 6 minutes, one of them was 10 minutes, so, and take it into the interval. So if he takes it into the cider, it's still anyone's game for the taking, but the problem is, can you really see him winning 3 frames on the bounce? Because if you ask me, not really. And, of course, another thing that you have to say, in those 3rd and 4th frames, he wasn't going for those outrageous long shots, which ultimately has cost him the 8th frame now, with Yuelong leading by 5 frames to 3. And, by the way, it's been less than 3 hours, and we already managed to get 8 frames in. Certainly something that Zhang Anda and Gary Wilson will be jealous of, with them playing well over midnight yesterday. When actually trying to play out their decider. And come on, Ronnie. Well, listen, we can be here for him. And we've seen it before. When he's not playing well, he's able to turn the page and turn up with a new level. But if it is going to be the level of 2025, Ronnie, of course, about to turn 50, let's see what he's going to have for us in store now. Maybe 2 more fantastic frames, and then it is going to be anyone's match for the taking. Yes, some late games always is in UK chat. Listen, we have seen that in close-up matchups We have seen UK Championship of Stephen Maguire job. We have seen Michael Holt winning 4 frames on the bounce against Wu Yize and turning that 5-0 into a 5-4 of a deficit. So momentum can be a very dangerous thing. Just ask Zhou Yuelong and the way that he's managed to win those 2 frames. But once again, I just think the fact that he's had sort of 200 points without any sort of answer from Ronnie could play a very bad role to him. The first couple of shots are going to be massive. And the first one is actually decent there for him. And another problem for Ronnie is going to be the fact that Zhou can afford to go for those long reds now. With him having that 2 frames of a cushion. Which, listen, that's why you don't go 2-0 down. And I said it at the start of the match. If Zhou is going to be able to hold himself on to that cushion, Ronnie is going to be able to do absolutely nothing. Because the style that Zhou Yuelong has, even if Ronnie plays these 3 frames perfectly now, it's still not going to be a guarantee that Zhou ain't going to be able to win at least one of those frames. And that's why you don't go 2-0 down every single time. He's gone 2-0 down against Lisowski, against Taylor, against Lam, against Murphy, and that's his last 5 matches. And against Wilson, I think, as well, in his loss to Cheyenne Grand Prix. So last 6 matches, I think he's gone 2-0 down in every single one of them. And that's absolutely unacceptable for the player of RonnieOSullivan's caliber. Now, go for this red into the middle if you want to sort of go for 2 or nothing shot. And he has gone for it and he's missed it. So, I'm not going to say anything. But, listen, it probably was the shot that you go for. I'm not going to judge his short selection here. But he could have played the shot with, well, a bit more accuracy, really. 22.5 minutes now since his last pot time. And, I mean, the good news for him, if there is going to be any sort of them to find out, is going to be the fact that pink is limited in terms of its flexibility. The black is covered up entirely, so the start of the break for Zhou ain't going to be easy. And gets the red in. Is he going to be able to get the cue ball for the blue? He won't, but he manages to get the cannon for the black. And now, that's the time for you to make the decision. I think he'll go for this black, but it's a lot of distance, and he hasn't actually gone for it. Wow, that's surprising, but it's also a very small shot there, selection there for him, because even though this black is available, the cue ball was perfectly on the cushion, and I think he'll know that, and he can feel it, that Ronnie will make so many more mistakes, at least at the early stage of this frame, until, you know, if that's going to be the case, he gets himself on a chance. He's going to be able to have a better chance of reclaiming that position once again. So back to Ronnie goes. Safety played in a decent manner. It's over. Listen, it's never quite over until it's over. And I think Zhou Yuelong will be able to tell you that. He's never beaten RonnieOSullivan before. And he has gone very close. It won't be the first time where he's managed to win 5 frames in the first round against Ronnie. And you know what happened that year? He managed to win the UK Championship. I'm not going to say that he was 2 frames down, but you know, he has lost 5 frames and still was able to win that match against Zhou Yuelong here. And well, goes for a decent safety shot himself. I think he'll try and bait O'Sullivan into one of those long shots, which at this stage is going to be impossible, but very difficult for him to try and find. A nice little way there for the cue ball to be lined up for the yellow pocket. And yeah, lovely little shot there from Ronnie. A bit more of that, please. Just let Zhou Yuelong know that you're not going to be going for any more reckless shots. And if you are, it's not going to be in this frame. Because, you know, when he's playing well, I can understand him going for a bit of a long shot as long as he gets the cue ball into a somewhat controlled area. And he's not sort of going against the numbers. Because, you know, the way the sport, and especially snooker, has gone into a game of numbers with the level of quality of the game just improving gradually. You no longer can go for those wild shots, which sometimes you'll make, sometimes you won't, because there are going to be players on the tour which are going to be able to punish you for those mistakes. And now, I mean, I think the blue is going to be in the way there, so it's not going to be a debate for Ronnie. But I thought if he has got this red available into the left corner, does he go for it with him having the position on the black potentially? Ooh, I mean, once again, it's just one shot, and he can go horribly wrong there for Ronnie, and very close to doing that on this shot. Catches the black for him to save the cue ball and send it to the top part of the table. But still, the shot that I was talking about, of a diagonal shot, is going to be available now for Zhou Yuelong, but with a lot less of a distance in between the cue ball and the target red. Long pot success 83%. Yeah, it's really good there for him. And he's going to be even higher right now. And he's going to get a perfect position on the black now. So it is going to be the break of a single point there for Zhou. And, well, it could be the start of the end there for him. Beginning of the end for Ronnie. And the start of something special for Zhou. And not going to have all the reds available. But he's still going to have a handful of those. Very much within his grasp. And, well, I mean, I say that. He nearly messed up the first one. Plays the black and plays the cue ball straight onto that red. And I still think he's going to be able to go for it. But with the black going on the yellow spot, I don't think that was part of the plan for Zhou anyway. Yeah, certainly didn't think that he was going to struggle with a second red there on his break. Could be nerves, but I still think he was just a misjudgment there with the way he cannoned the cue ball on for the black. And just having a look to see. I think he'll go for the cut, but the reason why he might not go for it is because the black is not going to be there, so he has to play for the blue, which makes the shot a requirement basically to play with power, but you can just see what momentum can do to you. He manages to play the shot well enough for him to be lined up for the blue, and even though he's lined up the wrong side of it, he can still try and continue the break after it, although it is going to be a bit of a difficult next shot with the red taken into, I think it'll be the right corner. Because playing for the blue and just playing with topspin is going to be a bit of a simpler short selection. And get yourself lined up closer towards the balk line. Or maybe just try and have that 3 cushion escape for the lower part of the table. Hasn't really played the shot well at all. And he actually could have himself snookered in behind the blue. And yeah, the cue ball is just going to travel far enough there for him to see this red. But with the black not being on his spot, it is going to be a challenge for him to continue the break from here. And once again, it will go to 200 points now without answer. From Zhou Yuelong's point of view. And yeah, he just has a look to see if he's going to be able to judge the contact of the cue ball, which is inevitable that he's going to clash with the main bunch of reds. And in just the way that he's actually going to finish up here. As I say, he can afford to go for it because if he guarantees himself to make the red in, he's still going to have a shot of a safety after it. And I think you have to go for it, really. Especially with him being the attacking player, having the momentum and having that 2-frame cushion. And yeah, he's just having a look to see if he's going to have a pink available into the right middle. And into the left corner for good match. And short time over a minute, but I just think he's trying to make sure he makes the right decision. I think he knows that. He still goes for the attacking shot, especially with the way he's looking. I mean, he may actually be looking at going for the cut of the red into the left corner, because that way you get the cue ball to the top part of the table. And also, you get a potential chance of going for the red in. And he has gone for it. And, well, he does seem to hold on for a break, but it just seems to be that one-shot wonder, and the next shot, once again, is going to be a challenge because, I mean, he can go for the green, but he needs an almighty cue action for the cue ball to travel back to the lower part of the table. But, I mean, you have to admire that because he's grinding out all those points, might actually be able to squeeze the blue in, which makes the shot easier for him. And, well, has he actually overplayed it? Yeah, he got too much of the action. I mean, incredible. And, well, of course, not incredible for him, but very interesting point of view that he was trying to hammer the blue into the green pocket by so much power that he's actually overplayed for that red into the right corner, and he's nearly ended up for it to be facing into the middle had the pink not been in the way. So probably, I mean, he's still looking like he is going to go for that red into the right corner, but surely that's the shot too far. I mean, that's incredible if he is actually considering that, because of it's a straight line there on the table, but it's such a difficult line. Nah, he's missed that one by a mile. I think that was one shot too many for him to take on, and it is going to be at least one more chance to Ronnie. 20 points of an advantage. Yeah, a bit disappointing there because the way he was grinding out those points, I just think that clearly that was the time to stop and just try and play a safety shot away. Last pot time, well over half an hour for Ronnie, but he is going to be able to put that number behind him. The problem is he going to be able to have himself lined up for the collar? He will be. So, come on Ronnie, one last dance, one last chance. 20 points of a deficit, so that's possible. The problem is the position is far from ideal there for him. And the pink to go into the left corner first. And, well, he's got 2 reds after this pink, which is still going to get him very close to that 21 points of a tally for Zhou. And he can try and take it from there. But at this stage, you have to say, just grind it out. Forget about the century break. Forget about the maximum attempts. Just try to grind it out and take it a shot by shot there. The fact that he's managed to put that last pot half an hour ago behind him is already a bonus. And I think anything above a break of sort of 20 points with a red and a color combination is going to be a bonus there for him. Now it's a massive shot for the red into the left corner. Manages to get the red in, but ain't going to have the position on the collar. And now, well, he's thought about it for 2 seconds, and he's clearly going to go for a do or die shot. Sorry, it took me a couple of chances to say that. But he's actually made that one stick. I mean, that was an incredible cut on the blue. And that's why Ronnie is going to be able to get himself out of jail a couple of those occasions. Hopefully, that's the last time he has to do it for this frame, though. If he takes it into frame 10, once again, you'll be back in the, not necessarily in the passenger seat, but at least you'll be fighting for the driving seat out there. Level on points. And having those reds spread out perfectly. Black to go back on its original spot. And, well, even if he has run himself out of position on this red, he's going to have another one into the left corner. So 7 points of an advantage. Not going to need any of those dodgy reds on the left and right hand side cushion. And it is going to be one last opportunity there for Ronnie. Ronnie King. I will say that if he wins it, I ain't going to say that now. For now, it's Ronnie waste. With all the chances that he's had. Remember, he's had the breaks of 62 points, the breaks of 65 points. And he still wasn't able to win any one of those frames. So, I won't believe it till I see it. But it is looking nicely. But, I mean, I've said that before. 600 points that he scored. 400 for Zhou Yuelong. And he has lost 5 of those 8 frames. That is incredible. Right then, let's try and put that behind us. And focus on the now. And frame number 9. 21 points of an advantage. He's still got the red into the right middle. Which he has to play with power. Ideally, he wants to have an angle on the pink to try and have those 2 reds separated, play the shot perfectly. Very important for him to play in the way that he did. And now, straight away, no hesitation, getting those reds to split up far from each other. And that should be the winning line for him, because if he gets those 2 reds with the blacks, he's going to be able to be 1 point safe there with my maths. Hopefully being correct. Because that's going to leave 43 points on the table with 44 points of an advantage. Game on. Not quite. Not quite. I think I'll say game on if it's a decider. And I'll say Ronnie King if it's a 85-0 scoreline in the decider. But as I say, he's still alive. And that's the most important thing. I think that's hopefully going to restrain him from going for those aggressive long shots at the start of the next frame. And hopefully we've seen the last of that. And now, we're very close to going for those last couple of points there. Just needs the black for him to be, what is it now? 44 points, yeah, as I say, 44 points clear, 43 on the table. So still, at least it's a snooker needed for Zhou. And as he tries to go for the red, he's going to wobble and stay out. I think it's a bit weird there that he stayed out. Yeah, Ronnie knows that. Didn't actually understand why he stayed out. And it will still be a little bit of a challenge for Zhou to find himself hopefully winning it. This frame in terms of gets the red in, he'll play with the black and tries to line himself up for the snooker, which I think at this stage he only needs 1 off. Yellow is out of position, the pink has taken his spot, and apart from that, all the other colours should be on the spots there. Hasn't played the shot perfectly there on the black. And, well, once again, listen, it's not a perfect ending to the frame from Ronnie's point of view, but at least he has managed to guarantee himself that he needs to miss the red, or needs to miss any of those colours if he does get to that point from Zhou Yuelong's point of view. I mean, he may actually go for this red to be taken into the left corner, just for it to be played with an expensive colour, just so that he doesn't have to worry about it later on. But no, he clearly had other thoughts about it. But where's the red going? It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. It's going to stay out though. Well, I think Ronnie would have been hoping that it's going to drop in because, I mean, if that red is so close to the pocket, it is actually going to limit the chances for Ronnie to hitting this one. But the good news is, if he hits it, he's very likely to pot it. Don't get the cue ball in. Oh my Christ, that is so unlucky. He got the red ball, but because it was so close to the pocket, he got the cue ball to go in off there. And he's no longer safe, unfortunately. And that's the negative news. The positive news, the yellow is still very much out of position there for Yuelong, so not quite possible for a clearance to be made easily right now. And of course he has to try and give it a try. I think going for the red, trying to get the pink out and back on his spot, make his clearance as simple as possible. Or maybe he's going to try and go for the blue and get himself a position on this yellow. So, yeah, it's always a problem, of course, when you have that one snooker, not getting that red in, off into the corner. Does allow Yuelong to have that momentum and just getting the cue ball in behind that yellow. And well, at least he hasn't managed to get himself on the yellow with a straight line, so he still can go for the shot along the cushion. And if anyone, by the way, mentioned match fixing about Ronnie, once again, you will be gone forever. Now, let's talk about this yellow. Is he going to go for it? He is 2 frames up on Ronnie. He can afford to go for it, but he can't really afford in terms of trying to go for the green, because you'll have to play the shot with backspin. Therefore, there's no way he's going to be able to play the shot with the rest and backspin to get himself both pots and the actual position on the green. I know he's played well, but he ain't a magician. I think you're going to need prime RonnieOSullivan for that shot to be executed. And yeah, just having a look to see. I think he's just thinking about the way he wants this yellow to be set up for a safety battle. And remember, we've already seen the case where I think it was it previous frame? No, that was the frame before that, where it was 26 points of a gap for Ronnie, and he was 27 on the table. And, you know, Yuelong has managed to have a 6-color clearance and make him the player to win that frame. And once again, I mean, what a shot that is. I mean, I know Yuelong is famous for having an absolute wonder of break building stuff, but what a shot he's just played. That is prime Mark Selby in terms of the way that he's got the green in between the cue ball and the yellow. And with both the yellow and the cue ball being quite far away from cushion, this is going to be such a tricky shot there for him. And O'Sullivan can no longer afford to go for the shot, to just get the red in and get the yellow in, I should say, and still leave it up for grabs there for Zhou. But this is probably the best shot that we've seen from RonnieOSullivan, certainly from the safety battle point of view. And it's a wonderful way for him to have that yellow set up quite close to the left-hand cushion, which is going to make it unplayable for Yuelong in an attacking fashion. And, well, not going to quite say it's going to be the reward there, but it is going to be a chance. Ronnie needs this yellow, and it is a chance there for the long shot. He has made one of those before. Not this one, though. He has missed it by an absolute mile. Where's the cue ball going, though? Very close to being in behind the black, but not quite. But the yellow could still go in the spine of the blue and the brown. Makes the shot very difficult there for Zhou. And, well, Ronnie doesn't seem to care about it too much, which probably is going to be a suggestion that Zhou can get through to this yellow. I mean, even if he can, I can see him putting it over the yellow pocket, which at these stages, as I say, he can't afford to do either. And the match is not quite over just yet. And having a good look at this one. And I did say he has got Jack Lisowski against RonnieOSullivan at the International Championship written all over it. With, you know, I think that was 9 frame, which was really important there for Ronnie to try and actually clinch away from Lisowski. He's managed to have a confident 10th frame. And then he was all or nothing decider with missing the match ball, I think, or thereabouts with the brown. Having so many more chances to actually get himself lined up for the last 16 match with, I think it was Barry Hawkins. And, of course, right now he's trying to go for that pursuit of Mark Selby. Still, by the way, if you're wondering why nothing is said on the table, because Yuelong is still thinking about how to approach his shot for the yellow. Mark Selby, by the way, lost 2 frames on the bounce. Now trying to make sure he's going to be able to close off the match against Li Beifan. And Selby, yes, that's literally, there you go. I mean, that was perfect answer there, Kevin. As Selby won is so much like it's telepathy. Right then, he's going to go for the swerve shot. Oh, that's gone horribly wrong. And it probably will be frame to Ronnie now. And he's going to be free ball as well. Yeah, it is going to be frame to Ronnie. So, in most dramatic of circumstances, it is going to be Zhou Yuelong to lose at least one of those 3 frames that he has to for RonnieOSullivan to be over the line. And, yeah, I mean, it is going to be technically 27 points still on the table. And GG's, yes, certainly. So 33 points. I mean, Ronnie's having a look at this one. 2 snookers needed, but 2 snookers on, what is it going to be? 6 colours. And I'm not sure why he's thinking so much about it. He's always been so good with maths. Maybe just looking to see with the scoreboard actually being updated there. Yeah, 72. Yeah, the referee just explaining that to him. So he's obviously just thinking that he was going to be a bit more away. But as I say, you can still roll the yellow along the cushion and certainly close off all the conversations. But he hasn't managed to do it. So, I mean, it's still GG's, but it's still Zhou Yuelong very much trying to get himself and find those 2 snookers. Still, he's going to be able to roll the yellow in. He ain't going to be able to keep this one out of the pocket. Now, well, for him to make this work, he needs to be getting a snooker right now in behind the brown, off the green. And, well, I was going to say play the shot well. He hasn't played the shot well at all. I think Ronnie's going to be able to see the green, and therefore don't really think it's going to be able to make a lot of sense for Zhou to pursue this battle. 2 snookers lined up for 5 colours, not really possible there for him. I'm not sure if he's going to stay in his chair. Now you will play on. So, of course, the first shot is always a massive advantage because with the green being so close to the brown, you can pretty much guarantee yourself of having a decent shot of having a snooker lined up on your opponent. With Zhou unable to do it, he's going to have to do it the hard way now. And the first shot is not going to get him anywhere near it. And listen, all that momentum that Zhou has managed to build up in the last couple of frames has gone out of the picture. And, well, it's all going to be a bit of a grind old battle. Preferably for Ronnie, of course, he wants to get the green into the pocket and fight for something actually reasonable there for him. I don't think there's got anyone in the stands, anyone in the crowd, or even Zhou Yuelong thinking that he's going to be able to win this frame, but obviously just deciding to carry on for a couple of more of those shots. Maybe, you know, it's going to be a tactic of trying to slow the game down and force Ronnie into playing a bit more of an aggressive shot and unravel him and sort of put him in a back spot for the next frame. But it is going to be at least 10 of those frames. So as I say, I did have the scoreline of 6 frames to 4 in favour of Zhou, and I will be very, very hopeful that that scoreline is going to be wrong at this stage, at least force the decider, and then it's anyone's frame for the taking. Although I don't really think that O'Sullivan has got a nice history of taking those deciders. I mean, he had one lost in the UK Championship last year here. Of course, won one in the first round against Zhou Yuelong 2 years ago, with Zhou trying to get the green away from the cue ball. Once again, it's a long shot, which will be a nice little test there. Lovely little shot there from Ronnie. And a bit more of that, please, in the next frame. It is now going to be frame, and it is going to be game on there. Ronnie still back in this one. 4-5, Zhou Yuelong leads, but Ronnie is not out of the picture just yet. I thought he was. I thought that early start to the frame was the best chance that Zhou Yuelong is ever going to get against RonnieOSullivan, but he wasn't able to take it. And in the end, it is going to be RonnieOSullivan 4, Zhou Yuelong 5. Come on, Ronnie, put it away. If Ronnie wins next frame, he goes favourite. Happy. Kevin, I will say this though. We have said exactly the same in the match against Jack Lisowski. Absolutely same. Absolutely same thing. And he hasn't. And he hasn't managed to take it. So, of course, I'm just saying that. I'm not saying that I don't want him to. Of course, the only way that Ronnie's going to be able to play either Selby or Beifan is going to be for him actually winning this decider. But, of course, you have to get there first. But does he actually... No, I mean, from the point of... Does he actually become the favourite in the decider? I still think it's going to be an absolute 50-50 in that case. Because, I mean, listen, if he's going to bring momentum and he's going to have a century break of 120 points once again, I mean, we've seen that before the interval. He's gone from 2-0 down to back to 2 each. He could have gone for, I don't know, like you say, a tea and a banana break. And then we could have gone, all of a sudden, it's 2 frames won there by Ronnie. And then, you know, he comes after the interval and he's played some couple of shots and Zhou was able to punish him. So I still think it's going to be 50-50. But for now, obviously, it is going to be 75-25 for Yuelong for the simple reason of he's got 2 more chances of actually getting himself over the line. Let's have a look how CLB is going on table number 2. I think he's going to be going on better than Ronnie at this stage. Yeah, he's on a break of 41 points, so 50 points to 0, still 91s on the table. So hopefully for Selby fans, not so much for Libre fans, he'll be able to get himself out of danger zone, which I think he will be, putting up with a little bit of pressure if he is to lose 3 frames of the bounce. Percentage of Ronnie winning this one, yeah, as I say, 25%. Right now it's 25%. It was 12% before the last frame, because every single time the percentage has to double because that frame opportunity for you to get over the line disappears. So if he was sort of, as I say, he was 2 frames down, it's 12%. If he was 3 frames down, it will be 6%. But now, as the players come back on the arena, I think it's actually Ronnie that comes back into the arena. I think Zhou was already waiting there for him in his seat. Let's see how the break-off shot is going to go and how the opening phase of this frame is going to go. Fingers crossed for Ronnie. Early chance, and hopefully he'll finally be taken, because the blueprint is there. The breaks of 65, 62, and 80, 71, and 120. I mean, it's incredible to think that I can name you 5 50-plus breaks from Ronnie, but he's only managed to win 4 frames now. I mean, that's incredible. Anyway, let's get the first couple of safety shots in. And the first one is a disaster for Ronnie straight away. Yeah, he's left the red over the left corner pocket. Bit of distancing between the cubo and the red is going to be a minor piece of good news there for him. And the way that the black has actually set himself up probably is going to make the shot a bit tricky there for him. But as I say, safety play has disappeared from Ronnie at all. And, I mean, I don't really see the way that he's going to be able to get the cue ball on for the top part of the table. So going to be interesting to see. And yeah, he was able to find a gap there. And is he going to have the power there for the cue ball? Just about will. Lovely little shot there by Zhou. And once again, first chance is his there for the taking in frame number 10. The player decider, Ronnie will lose. He brings so many numbers to the game and now often heavily disappoints. I mean, Katani, Michael, it's a negative comment, but I'm really sorry to say I can't actually say you're wrong. So you're probably right in everything of it. But it's just the way the things have gone, actually. 3 black ball frames. True. I don't know. Yeah, 3 black ball games, and you had pink. You had a pink frame at the start of thing. Yeah, it's incredible that. It is incredible, but ultimately, it is all going to be worth it if O'Sullivan is going to be able to turn the page on him, and that's the inspiring thing. Sorry, I reacted to a mistake way too sort of actively there, but it's a miss, and it's a horrible miss by Yuelong. Although, I mean, it's a miss, and it is going to be a chance given away to Ronnie, but I mean, it's just a chance to get himself back in the safety play because he was trying to play for the black from a red, and very surprised to see that miss so early in this match. This certainly is going to be pressure because he ain't going to be taking his eye off any shot right now. He's going to be feeling a bit of pressure here. And the confidence ain't going to be there after that miss. All I'm going to tell you, that miss is going to stay in his head rent-free. We've seen that against Mark Cullen in that final. And this will feel like in the final, especially against the sort of opposition that he's going to be up against. No. Everything is possible. I'm a big Ronnie fan. I love the game because of him. The truth is, his game is now on downhill spiral. He will always be the greatest. Listen, that's why we agree with you on this one, because I'm a Ronnie fan myself, but I ain't going to say that he's playing brilliantly. And then, you know, you can't say he's playing brilliantly, but then he's losing every single one of the actual sort of decent players that he's having to play up against. I mean, the 3 players that he's gone up against were Jack Lizalski, Sean Murphy, and Gary Wilson, and Neil Robertson, realistically. I know he's managed to beat a couple of players of, I think, Barry Hawkins in the Shanghai Masters, Karen Wilson in the Saudi Arabian Masters. But apart from that, I mean, has he managed to be the top 16 player apart from those two? Pressure will mount. Yes, well put. Well, it's going to be a safety battle. And Ronnie still needs to find himself winner of the safety. Because, you know, you could see the pressure can be a thing here. But if Zhou gets himself on with a couple of more of those chances, he can try and overcome the pressure by doing that. And just apply a bit of pressure on Ronnie's point of view. Plays a nice little shot though. And puts Ronnie under pressure now with the safety battle. Oh, he's made the mess of that. He's absolutely made the mess of that. And he's caught the black in. I think the referee will hope that he ain't going to have to respot those. But yeah, he's going to be absolutely fuming with himself. It was a decent shot there by Zhou. But it was just trying to find too much of the edge there off the red. And yeah, you can see that he's feeling this one now. You can talk about pressure for Zhou. But Ronnie will be very disappointed there for himself. Not left anything easy though. At all. It's a red into the right middle, which he's going to run himself out of position. So he probably has to... No, he is going for the red into the right middle. Or is it into the green pocket? He's gone for the green pocket and he's made that one stick. So, once again, you can talk about pressure, but right now it is going to be another chance there for Yuelong. And, well, I think he certainly manages to recover himself and redeem himself after the shot for the previous miss on the red. Once again, his long pot success is pretty much being better than his normal pot success. 89% on each of those. Yeah, absolutely brilliant there from Yuelong's point of view. Especially if you talk about the long shot. But I wouldn't really panic too much right now. You can, but no need to. 41 points last frame it was. And Ronnie was able to overcome that deficit to force enough of a gap for him to actually have a frame on the board. And, well, the reason I say don't panic just yet is because I can see 3 reds which Yuelong can pot, which will put him around that 40 points of a mark. But he's still going to have to make contact with the main bunch of reds for him to be over the line here. And ideally, you want to do that from the red. Well, you can't really do that from the red because you're not going to have the black to play for. Therefore, you're going to need to line yourself up with the blue. Try and play it into the bunch and hope that for one last time you're going to be lucky in this encounter. And you're going to be away into one more red, which I think Zhou will take at that stage for Zhou to get himself up into the final lap and the endgame zone of the frame and therefore the match. Now, do the easy task first. And 30 points is the advantage. Doesn't seem to be too happy with the way he's lining himself up for this red though. Maybe he has to bridge over the brown. And yeah, has to. So making the shot a bit tricky there for himself. And caught the front jaw. But of course on the middle pocket is going to be more forgiving. Ronnie obviously won't want to lose. But better for him to lose now in a competitive match than play the Soviet. Well, I get that. But I always think that's the wrong mindset. Because if you'd rather lose in the stage before, then I think you're not really going to be involved with the sport there, because you always want to be there and then whatever happens will happen. That's not the mindset. Selby can always turn up with an absolute stinker and then Ronnie can actually realise, oh, you know what, I'm playing Selby, one of my fiercest rivals of my career, for a place in the quarterfinal of a Triple Crown event. Maybe I actually should turn up and play some of my best snooker that we've seen all season. And I did say it was going to be one last milestone for Zhou to complete, and he's going to have to try and do it off the yellow right now to try and go into the budget, unless, of course, he finds a plant there. But I don't really think, the way you can see it, I don't think he's going to have any of those plant chances. He's got one more remote red, but with the way he got himself lined up for this yellow, can't really see him getting in behind it. So it's all or nothing, and he's trying to make contact with those reds. It's a perfect line. Is he going to have anything? Not easy, but I still think he's going to have a shot into the right middle for sure. And maybe a shot into the right corner. So, I mean, he's played the shot absolutely perfectly. And, you know, you have to say, he has managed to play his part so far perfectly in this match. A couple of early mistakes. Still managed to win those frames, so you can't criticize him for them. And just had to be up against a dangerous version of O'Sullivan at times. Once again, doesn't seem to be too happy with himself with the way he's landed on his pink. He still can try and pot it into the right middle, but next red is going to be an issue there for him. Just having a look at the scoreboard, just like it was in the previous frame. 40 points like right now. And 46 after the pink. Will still take him a couple of more reds and color combinations. But now he just needs to re-establish himself once and for all on a nice little positional shot for either red or color. And he's going to be able to just navigate his way through the remaining reds, which you'll need. Which I think if he gets 3 more reds... Yeah, he said, yeah, he needs 3 reds and that's it. So, sort of 6 shots. And that's going to be it there for Ronnie. And he's going to be out of the UK Championship in the first round. I think for the second time in a row there in the first round. But where's this cue ball going to finish? Needs it to run even more. Needs it to run even more. And he has actually landed up perfectly. I thought he was lining up a shot into the left middle until I realised that the pink was going to cover at that spot. And yeah, he's going to have a plant available into the left middle though. Into the left corner, I should say. And he's just having a look to see if he can go the direct way. Because he still has to force the cue ball to get himself lined up for a call after this one. Just checking once again. And, I like the approach that he's taking on the break. Very careful, very cautious. And of course, after that early miss on the red into the left corner, it felt like it was O'Sullivan's chance for the taking. And in the end, it is going to be a second chime of asking, but red is not going to be in. And wow, another twist. Another twist. And just like it was in the previous frame, that one, it was 41 points of advantage. This time it's 46, but still 91 points on the table. And Ronnie will come back to the table for one last time. Well, I say one last time, for one more time. Hopefully it's not one last time. Because we want a decider, and we want him winning the decider. If you are RonnieOSullivan fans. Because you don't want that if you are supporting Zhou here. Now, he got the red in, which Zhou has kindly left for him in the pocket. But first color is going to be a very important task for him to try and manage. Because even though Zhou has left himself with so many reds to play, it was many reds for him because he only needed a handful of those for him to get over the line. Ronnie will need a total clearance or thereabouts it for him to win this frame now. But I still think he'll absolutely take this chance. Even though he's probably still going to be the runner-up for the favourite spots in this frame right now. Now the first shot, just getting the cue ball down the table, played it nicely. Or has he? Doesn't want to be straight on this red. Because that way, he's going to limit the access to the blue. He can't play with the... I mean, he has risky. Played it with topspin. Very close to getting this one into the left middle. But in the end, he felt like he controlled it. I still don't really understand how he missed this plan, to be fair. Unless he was trying to do too much of a work with those reds. Yuelong into the left corner now. Camera has gone on Zhou here, but Sullivan was looking nervous. If he's actually landed on this red into the right corner, he has. Now needs to bring the black into play as soon as possible. And he's going to try and do it right now. Doesn't want the cue ball to be stuck to the right hand side cushion. And he's going to be fine for now. Well, I say he's going to be fine. If he's going to be able to get sort of underneath the cue ball. Yeah, you can see Zhou is breathing pretty heavily, which is understandable at this stage. And, well, Ronnie's going to go for the difficult shot now. I mean, you may as well get it out of the way, but he's got a bit of distance in between the cue ball and this red. And if he makes it, he probably is going to win the frame. But if he loses it, and if he misses it, he will be very much out and out. But he made it. He made it, and he's still in the hunt. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if it is going to be another decider, and it is going to be RonnieOSullivan back with at least one more chance. 4 reds, all in open play. Well, 3 of them quite close to each other, but you can try and dismantle them one by one. And, well, now from the black onto those reds, is he going to try and power them? He will, and he's played the shot perfectly once again. So, I mean, 11 points behind, and it does look like we are going to be going 36 points. Not going to say even more than that. 36 points now. 10 points of a deficit. Going to make that 3 right now with the black. Lovely little shot once again. So 2 more reds. And I don't think he's going to need all of the colours. I think he's going to need the starting point of them. So maybe all the ball colours. And he should be away off into the deciding frame. Now 2 points behind with pink to be taken. Left a bit of distance. So clearly fancying his chances. And hasn't really played the shot too well. Because even though he's going to be having a straight line for this red, ideally he wants to be the right side of the blue, and he knows it. Left him with a bit of a difficult cut now on the blue. And still needs the perfect position on the yellow. Manages to get it in the middle. Catches the brown, which wasn't part of the plan. And he has ruined it for himself. Yeah, he has ruined it a bit. He's not out and out, but I mean, 10 points ahead now. He needs the yellow and he needs all the ball colours. He'll go for it in the green pocket, but it's a difficult shot now. And he's missed it. Where's the cue ball going to be? And he's going to be in the zone where I think the yellow is going to be possible from. Yeah. No hand of apology. And that's why you never celebrate until it's over, because there's always something that can go wrong. And that slightest thing on the pink, where he left him with a bit too much of room, in the end, I mean, yeah. Zhou doesn't seem to be confident about taking this yellow on, but yeah, I mean, blimey, I think is what Ronnie will be saying. And yeah, it's a horrible, horrible way that he's lost that break. Let's see if he's going to lose the frame now. Of course, the more time that Zhou is actually going to be taking the shot, the more of a chance that he's going to refuse the pot. Once again, he's gone for it 3 times there, back down every single time of it. So clearly, ain't going to be feeling too confident. And now, I mean, is he studying the way to send the cue ball onto the low part of the table once again? I mean, if he's left the yellow in the way that Zhou can't get through to it enough to pot, he can't see enough of it to pot it. Once again, 4th now, he's gone down for it and back down a bit. Yeah, he has gone for a safety shot and he hasn't played it well at all. He has messed it up there, Zhou, and he has given Ronnie a way back in this frame. Absolutely not deserved, but are we going to care? Absolutely not. Now, all about the 2 shots, and what on earth am I seeing here? I mean, you should just say, from a professional point of view, Ronnie has been absolutely shambolic now, because he has been given a yellow into the green pocket, and he's messed up the easiest positional shot that you probably would have seen a professional misjudge there on the entire UK champion. I don't think players will misjudge that in the qualifiers in the first round. I mean, he got given this chance and he's wasted that one straight away. I mean, at this stage, you have to say he doesn't deserve a decider. I hope he gets it, but look at this shot for a yellow. He's so close to it, and why on earth would you play it with so much power? All you need is a green and brown combination, and he wasn't able to produce that for himself. Well, we all know what happens in those case scenarios. Now Yuelong can have this green taken into the right corner pocket, and he will take it, and you know what? He deserves it, and RonnieOSullivan will be knocked out by Yuelong surely now, because yeah, you can say that it's never over until it's over. You're not going to be forgiven for those type of mistakes, and even though it is going to be nervous moments for Zhou, and he needs a total clearance, he only has himself to blame. It is exactly the same as we've seen against Jack. That time it was a decider. This time it doesn't look like it is gonna last the decider. So a simple 2-color clearance there for Zhou, and it will be a well-deserved win there for him. Of course, one of his biggest wins of his career there. Not necessarily in the sort of tournament stages wise, but to win over RonnieOSullivan now, and he only has the black standing in between him and the last 16 spot. Let's see if that's going to be the case. Ronnie's ready to shake his hand. And it all comes down to this black into the right corner, which will disappear. And it is Yuelong to win it against RonnieOSullivan. And it has been more than deserved. Not going to say a lot more about Ronnie. As I say, it has been an absolutely shambolic of a performance. And hopefully he'll be back. He won't be back this year though, because he's not going to feature at the Scottish Open or the Snooker Shootout. So we have seen the last of RonnieOSullivan 2025, and ultimately we are still yet to see the best of Yuelong, because he certainly has managed to play his part, and the better player has won in winning all of those clutch frames at the start, in the middle, and especially at the end of this match has proved to be incredibly important. Total points, if you look at the stats, 698 for Ronnie, 504 for Yuelong. Both spots 192 versus 136. Spot success for Zhou, 93%, 90 for Ronnie. Long ball success, 45% for Ronnie. 89, incredible number for Yuelong. Safety success, 78 to 72. Once again, in the Chinese player of a favour. highest break 125 to 123, as you can see on your screen. Thank you very much for everyone tuning in. We've got, well, now 300 people watching, and yeah, appreciate that. If you want to like the stream on the way out and subscribe to the channel, we will have more of the action of the UK Championship. Of course, it won't feature the player that I think all of us want to see, but in the end, you have to say the best and the better player has to win on this occasion, and it certainly has been the case. We still will see the likes of Neil Robertson, Mark Williams, Watchalong, and Zhou Yuelong, and Mark Selby. Hopefully, if he manages to overcome that match against Li Beifan. Let's have a look how that one has gone. And he has ended, so I would actually take it that Selby was able to get himself over the line. And yes, with a scoreline of 6 frames to 2. And, well, I did say it was going to be Zhou Yuelong to win this one by 6-4, and I actually got it right. Not going to say I'm happy with it, but listen, if you are to do a little bit of an overview, the first and second frames have been very important. And once again, you just see Ronnie just not being able to produce a good performance at the start of the match, and ultimately it has cost him very dearly, losing 3 black ball frames. Certainly one of them was on a pink ball, and you have 4 of those. Then you have a decider, not quite a decider, but the 10 frame, and the frame of Zhou Yuelong actually getting over the line, which of course would have been on the black as well, which makes it 4 of the frames that he's managed to win were actually on the black. 1 more of them was the pink, and 1 more of them was a break of 125 points. Incredible performance, incredible madness. Ronnie has to improve massively for him to be coming back in the Masters and the second part of the season. But at this stage, he won't be a contender for either Masters or the World Championship or either one of the Triple Crown events. Has to improve, and Zhou Yuelong will be, hopefully for himself, just getting better and better, and keep entertaining the fans to some brilliant snooker produced. He will now face Mark Selby in the last 16 match. And yeah, as I say, see Zhou against Trump tomorrow. And thank you very much for everyone joining in. Loads more of UK Championship action to come. We'll have the final to wrap it all off on Sunday, but who's going to be the winner remains to be seen. If you enjoyed it, once again, as I say, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you all later. Thank you very much again. I'll speak to you soon.